Hello and welcome to the Clash of Clans World Championship Last Chance Qualifiers. I'm Carbon Finn, joined here with my amazing fellow co-casters to bring you an action-packed weekend. Let's start off with you, Itsu. Are you ready?
I'm so ready. I mean, this is the last chance for those teams, as the name of this qualifier already says. So this is the last chance for the teams to get that golden ticket. Cannot get any crazier than this. Woody, are you ready though?
Oh yeah, you know I'm ready, Itsu. This is the Clash of Clans World Championship Qualifier on a narrowed down 6-team opportunity to go to Worlds for still $1 million prize pool. There's so much more on the line for this round of this weekend than any other previous weekend. It is going to be an insane matchup between 6 superstar teams, and who better to bring in the action than you know him, you love him, Judo Sloth.
Thank you so much for the warm welcome, Woody. I'm excited to be back, and due to only having 6 golden tickets this year for the World Finals, we still have so many top-tier teams battling it out this weekend, which is just going to be amazing. But Carbon, how did we get here in the first place?
Indeed. Well, we started in Stage 1 in the open qualifiers, which was open to everyone in Clash. And that narrowed it down to the monthly qualifiers into Stage 2. And then finally, Stage 3 was the monthly finals, where teams were able to earn a golden ticket or, in this case, a silver ticket, which you see teams here today, where they earned in a monthly final or in a community tournament. And now today, this weekend, today and tomorrow, is all about the last chance qualifiers to find out that team going to the World Championship.
That's right, and on this weekend, it's going to be a 6-team double elimination bracket with the 2 first-seeded teams actually having a bye, so they don't have to fight as many matches. Every single match is going to be 5 vs 5 clan wars, where every player is having only 1 attack. And then for the prize, we have that golden ticket for the first place. But Woody, there is more on the line.
Oh, there sure is, Itsu. We've got tens of thousands of dollars to give out here. And as you can see, every team competing this weekend is going to earn multiple thousands of dollars. It's $2K for the teams that are kicked out first, $3,000 for 4th place, $5K for 3rd place, and $8,000 for the 2nd place team, all behind that golden ticket and $10K prize for 1st place. Judo Sloth, we have got 6 amazing teams that are going to be competing today. Why don't we go ahead and introduce them to the folks out there?
Yes, Woody, we have the 6 teams who have earned their golden ticket. So back in April, we had Vatang. Then in May, we had HTM Esports, Mo Shifters in June, then Pulse Gaming. Finally, we had, through the Global Clash Cup, Dizi Esports, and then the Snapdragon Pro Series, Tribe Gaming. They are your 6 teams competing this weekend. But let's take a look at the golden ticket winners already, Carbon.
Yeah, these teams were the winners of each of the monthly finals, which include Chronic from April. May, we had Stanima Esports. June, Mila CMG. July was Navi. And then in the China qualifier, we had MTFY coming in and qualifying, which means only 1 ticket is left, which we're going to be giving away to one of the teams competing this weekend. Cannot wait to see who is going to be flying out to the one and only place, which is going to be Superfest. So let's learn a little bit more about that.
For the first time ever, we are bringing our 3 world finals together for one big event to crown the next world champions. Welcome to Superfest, where fans, pro players, and content creators come together for an epic world finals event, where only the best will compete and legends are made. Join us starting November 1st in Helsinki, or watch online at event.supercell.com and be part of esports history. See you at Superfest.
Superfest is going to be an amazing weekend where all three titles, Clash of Clans, Clash Royale, and Brawl Stars, all coming together out in Helsinki November 1st through 3rd. I cannot wait for that, to be seeing so many new champions crowned this year. But Itsu, we have to focus on this weekend here to see who's going to be able to get that final ticket to go to Superfest. So let's learn a little bit more about the teams and the bracket here.
That's right, Corbin. Let's take a look at the bracket in the first round matchup, which is going to be our first match, Pulse Gaming versus Tribe Gaming. The winner is going to face then Vatang later today in the second round, since Vatang already has this bye round. In the second match of today, we're going to have Momentum Shifters versus Dizi Esports. The winner of this match is going to face HTM Esports in the upper bracket, while the loser out of that match is going to drop in the lower bracket. A total of 6 matches are going to be played today, and well, we're going to already lose 2 teams after just the first day of this crazy action. But Woody, which match are you looking forward the most out of those matches?
I mean, between the first couple of matches, I really think that this Tribe Gaming versus Pulse Gaming match, the very first one, is an extraordinary one to keep an eye on. Tribe Gaming, a team that has been to more world championships than any other squad, has not yet qualified this year, and yet they have really tough opposition in the first round there. Pulse Gaming is another team that has had a member that's been to the world championships, and they performed incredibly well, but just not yet able to get that golden ticket. They shot out of the gate going guns blazing earlier this year, but maybe Tribe has the momentum coming into this next round. We're going to find out very shortly, though, as there's only 6 teams competing, and this double elimination bracket leaves little room for error. But for the first match, you can see that it is unanimous across the board. Even if it may be a close one, we all believe that Tribe Gaming is the team to beat for round number 1, Judo.
Yes, I just feel myself that their core roster has been the same for a number of years. They have a lot of experience, so that's why I went with Tribe. But Carbon, how about yourself?
I picked Tribe as well. I mean, all of us across the board picking this team to win, as they have plenty of world championship experience for many years. So if they don't make it, there'll be a lot of people that will be surprised. But Pulse Gaming is looking to take them on and try to win and stay in an upper bracket. This is the very first match here, as Tribe Gaming is taking on Pulse Gaming, as it's going to be many faces that you've seen before here, Itsu.
Yeah, let's find the imposter on this picture right here. I'm obviously kidding, but like the hit rates of the Tribe Gaming team are crazy. But looks like Escosys is not having his best qualifiers so far, or like his best matches which he played. I don't know if the number looks really interesting there, quite low for him. But let's see on the other side, Pulse Gaming, we have less 100% hit rate players, but more spread out when it comes down to those overall 3-star rates. But either way, both teams are looking incredible, and I think those stats, they're just summarizing how they have performed over this year, which means it comes down to showing and really showing up when it matters the most. And this is today and tomorrow, to make sure that they're claiming this last golden ticket of the year, Woody.
Yeah.
Right, you are, Itsu. And as we all know, Tribe is a team that has had many successes in the past. They only missed the 2020 World Championship. Every other one that they've been to, they've done very well. Last year, in fact, they were eliminated by Na'Vi, the reigning world champions at the time. And so we can certainly expect them to put up a world-class performance in this next round. Pulse Gaming, for their own part, have also done an extraordinary job earlier this year, earning that silver ticket. We know that Chihawa is another player who's been at Worlds before and has that experience at the top level of competitive Clash of Clans. It's not quite a toss-up, as all forecasters predict that Tribe Gaming will be the team to take away the win, but anything can happen on any given weekend, and this match right now shows that we have a lot of energy between both of these two teams to see who can come out ahead on offense. That's been the story so far this year for the metagame. It's who can deliver the most consistent, quickest attacks in case it goes down to a 15v15 star tiebreaker. The team with the quickest attacks wins, and so whichever team can come out ahead first early on will have a major advantage, Judo.
Absolutely. And if you are watching at home, remember you can watch on event.supercell.com/Clash of Clans. You can make your predictions and even earn in-game rewards, which is pretty exciting. But Carbon, enough talk. We are just about ready to get into that first match.
Indeed, we're jumping now into this first one between Tribe Gaming and Pulse Gaming. Remember, since this is the very first match, we're going to have plenty this weekend. It's going to be incredible, and you don't want to lose this very first match here, Itsu, because if you do, you get sent to the lower bracket, and that is going to be a big problem.
That's right. I mean, we have seen only really few times within the history of Clash Esports that teams are able to come back from the lower bracket and make it then all the way not only to the finals, but as well then winning that finals back-to-back. Because remember, if you're making it to the finals from the lower bracket, you have to win that finals twice to win the entire thing. But we're getting ready, ladies and gentlemen, for the first attack. The attacker is going to be Wado from Pulse Gaming, and they are starting this match off.
Yep. We have, so in here with Wado, that's going to be coming up. And so we actually have receiving word that the very first attack actually did go in here. And we've got Exorcist that is going to be looking to defend, where Nebrax did come in first with his first attack for Tribe Gaming, and that was a 3-star, and the attack was 1 minute and 14 seconds. So we're going to be jumping into the second attack here, as we are now in with Wado for Pulse Gaming, as we have the Siege Barracks up to the top side with the Root Riders coming on in.
And we're seeing the Angry Jelly again with the Barbarian King to get him quicker into that base, into the action, with the double rage nice and early to get into that village as quickly as possible. Remember though, if you rage those Root Riders up, they sometimes are not breaking the wall if there's only one Root Rider. So you have to be careful with that. You have to make sure that there are enough of them together so they're opening up the walls for the King to get let into that core of the base.
Yeah, with that Monolith still up, he's looking to help path his way through there. As the Queen, she is on the outside to the far left, as the Rage is going to push these Root Riders right on through. Still has that King ability as he's making his way towards the Town Hall. Now Royal Champion clear the multi to the right. We have Super Barbs clearing the right side there, and there indeed is the Spiky Ball that is skipping across here, and Wado's continuing to push through. It's going to be a 3-star here. Well done to Wado, going to be answering the call. Does drop that final troop, has one final minion, but it is a triple here to start for Pulse Gaming.
That's right. That Super Minion, though, cannot clear that multi-archer tower, which means it's going to be left standing for a couple of more seconds. And we know we have had in the past in those qualifiers a lot of matches coming down to those last seconds. So every second count, as we know. Is it going to be enough with just the first 2 attacks, so each team 1 attack in?
Yeah, with a 1 minute 24 second triple there from Wado, but the attack we weren't able to witness was Nebrax, which was a minute 14. We may see a quick replay, but they're going to have to be jumping straight into the next attack that we're going to see from Tribe Gaming. But as this currently stands, we didn't have the leaderboard, the scoreboard on the right side update, but it will, so you'll stay tuned for that. Remember, this is the last chance qualifier, meaning if you win first here this weekend, tomorrow, you'll be getting that final golden ticket. And there is also prizing here this month that teams can win.
That's right, 10,000 for the first team, but I think all of those teams here agree 100% that golden ticket is the goal. Going to the World Championship is the goal all of those teams are working towards over this entire year. And, well, in this qualifier. They're the best teams currently, which have not gotten a golden ticket just yet in there. And we see that next attack from Rakiris now with Dragons, with that giant arrow, which is just so good to snipe buildings inside that core. Take down sweepers, for example, and he has taken down the first one already, but he has not taken down the one at the top side.
Yeah, with the monolith straight in the core, look at all the openings around, or at least the space around that monolith, so it makes it a little bit more difficult to try to path your way through there, but he's trying to, well, he overgrowths it, so he doesn't have to worry about that for the time being, as it looks like the dragons are going to path their way to the top, while his king and queen can make their way towards the town hall and secure that.
That's right, Queen is charging into that town hall compartment, or next to the town hall compartment, as he's running the healer puppet on her. There is a lot of red mines behind that town hall, but they're not doing as much as the Queen is taking down the town hall. The overgrowth is running out to the perfect moment. The Royal Champ with her Hog Rider and Haste Bile equipment is going through those defenses, and this so far is looking really promising.
It's looking spectacular there as a skeleton spell that distracted the monolith, allowed the Royal Champion to push her way through, as it is a 3-star here for Rikiras at 1:13 seconds. A fantastic job taking down this base. What a brilliant hit to bring the second 3-star here for Tribe Gaming.
Yeah, I feel like Dragons currently are insanely strong, especially with the giant arrow. The sweepers just don't matter anymore, and as long as you hit that sweeper, that's, I guess, the most tricky part about the giant arrow, to angle it correctly. But if you really practice that, you can get so much value from that equipment in combination with those arrow attacks. And we have seen that perfectly right there from Rakiris in just showing us how it's done. But now it's back to Pulse Gaming, and Chihuahua actually, can he show how it's done as well, because he's going to attack Nibrox.
Yes, Chihuahua, he's come in with very fast attacks in the past. One of them in particular has been the Fireball, using Fireball with combination of potential rocket loons, and that can help speed things up. And let's see, doesn't look like he's bringing that here, as it is going to be Root Riders and Valkyries. But putting the Angry Jelly on this king is going to allow that king to target defensive buildings. One thing I'm going to be keeping my eye on is if any of these teams and players decide to bring that Queen's Mirror to get some cloned up queens moving on through.
Yeah, we have rages everywhere to make sure that funneling is happening really quickly. But wait a second, the king is redirecting into that monolith compartment, which means everything is kind of splitting up. And typically, those strategies executed by the pros should work still for 3 stars. The only downside is time is always a factor, and he is already 40 seconds into the attack, crossing the 50% mark now with the super minions, unleashing all of their rockets. But is it going to be enough to reach that town hall and get through that last single inferno tower?
Yeah, it looks like a lot of everything in the core has kind of disappeared, other than the king there. Does use a freeze onto the town hall. The Royal Champion and her hogs getting some nice value. Root Riders opening, and a handful of phrases. There is the spiky ball, and look at it, just moving right on through, crushing it. And we're gonna see a 3-star coming in 1 minute and 4 second triple there. Fantastic. And now at the current moment, Tribe Gaming only has a 1 second lead. It's currently 6-6, 1 second advantage in total time. Not average, but 1 total second lead to Tribe Gaming at the moment.
And I feel like it's getting crazier and crazier. Already with the last qualifiers, we had really outstanding matches when it came down to how close they were. Some of them are coming down on like 1 building, 1 percentage total, or for example 1 second total of a difference, and all those crazy stuff. So I'm looking forward to if Yo-Yo can actually make sure that Tribe Gaming is getting a bigger lead, or is he going to give Pulse Gaming that chance of well, coming back from their 1 second deficit, which is currently not that much, to be honest.
Yeah, because Chihuahua with that 64-second triple really brought that average down. But remember, only 2 attacks in on each side, as now Yo-Yo's coming in with the Dragons. We're going to see potentially a Queen Arrow. No? Okay, yes, I was going to be worried there because the building almost went down. And if the Queen looks a different direction, that arrow is flying off the map in the wrong direction. Not getting the value, but we're seeing now the Warden Eternal Tome being used as he pushes his way directly towards that Town Hall.
Yeah, going directly into the Town Hall is not something you're seeing that often, because with that you're having typically the full effect of that Town Hall explosion and the poison effect. You want to have that on the back end, but take a look at this. The poison now ticking with so much damage on those dragons. The good news for him, though, is that there is the overgrowth on the back end. Queen is getting raged up again, so she's staying alive, taking down those back end defenses, but the Eagle is staying alive for so long as well. Royal Champ now is in that overgrowth area, and he has still spells left, Carbon.
Does, with a Rage and a Freeze. One Super Barbarian continuing to push through here, moving his way straight onto the Eagle, and this is looking fantastic here. Gonna be a 3-star, but it's just something I'm noticing here that we're seeing from Pulse Gaming is these isolated monoliths where they're straight in the core with a bunch of dead zones around it. What would be your guess in terms of why the monolith is being placed like that?
I feel like overall, first off, to limit the value of the overgrowth spell, to make sure that you don't have that crazy value around the monolith. And it's one of the most important defenses currently, because it's mostly dragons or it's root riders. What does those two troops have in common? They have a lot of hit points, so the monolith is really effective against them. And with having it so isolated but still in range of the outside buildings, they can deal a lot of damage. So that's why we have those island bases of this core monolith. Another interesting thing about the bases of Pulse Gaming are those little compartments on the outside, where all of those defenses are then isolated and have their separated compartments, because if those root riders are not getting those walls open right away, that can really mess up the pathing of the other troops, and that's what those teams are trying to accomplish with those compartments. So far, it has not worked for those teams. Both teams are looking really, really good, and Pulse Gaming now need to make sure that they're staying close or even beating Tribe currently on time.
Yeah, and that previous attack that we saw from Yo-Yo was a 1 minute and 14-second 3-star. So we're seeing now Lincoln coming in here for Pulse with the similar attack of the Queen Arrow from almost the exact same spot from the right, and the drag is right on in between, popping a very early Warden Eternal Tome, double rages to push his way through with a Stone Slammer also paired in to the bottom side into the Inferno Tower.
Yeah, we have the Tornado Trap, though, rotating the dragons away from that monolith, so he has to make sure that he's maybe investing another freeze into Town Hall and that monolith together. But we still have a lot of dragons alive. The Queen circling the base with that King together. The raged Royal Champion coming in now from the left side, making sure that she's pushing into a lot of those defenses and clearing out buildings, with Super Barbarians cleaning things up now. But the Town Hall poison again. This is the risk of going into that Town Hall building early. And Ice Golems are getting lured as well, Carbon.
Yeah, the Ice Golems coming out of here, which is not necessarily going to potentially stop him from a 3-star, but it's going to hurt him in terms of time. As the, oh, look at that King Spiky Ball. It clears so much there as the Ice Golems do stop him a bit, but the Dragons are onto the Clan Castle, and it is going to be a 3-star here from Lincoln with a 1 minute and 11-second 3-star. Now Pulse Gaming has taken a 2-second total advantage, so it's currently on their side at the moment.
Yes, but it's so close still. We're talking about 2 seconds. That is not much. As well, if you're wondering why you have not seen the Magic Mirror just yet at this competition, or for example the Druid, those troops or this equipment is actually not allowed in the Last Chance Qualifier. Just so if you're not aware of this, making sure that you're not wondering, isn't the Magic Mirror really good equipment? Yes, it is. It's actually one of the best in the game, but this is why you won't see it on this weekend, unfortunately. But is now back to Tribe Gaming, and if the hit rates in the beginning were correct, he has one of the worst hit rates in Tribe, so he really needs to make sure that he is showing up now, not only 3-starring, but as well getting an incredible quick attack in, because they are behind currently.
Yeah, by a few seconds. It's still anyone's game at this point, as Exorcist is now in, and he's going to be delivering with the Riders and Valkyries as well. I do see a Frozen Arrow in there. We got the Hogs haste onto that Royal Champion, that Queen, going into the defensive King here. We have the Frozen Arrow slowing the defensive King with that Paradin Headhunter there, so that Queen can stay on the outside, continue her way through, and send in the Royal Champion nice and early, straight into the Inferno, and then she can go grab the Eagle, and then even the Monolith. So a fantastic push from this Royal Champion I can foresee here, as he's going to push these Rude Riders straight into the core, and then have them all come together towards that Town Hall.
Yeah, the skeleton spells are really nicely placed, making sure that the scatter shots and as well the monolith are completely getting distracted. The Queen is doing her best of staying alive at the top, that she's getting supported now by Barbarians, regular ones and Super Barbarians, with the overgrowth on the back end, making sure that that tower compartment is staying up last, but as well not dealing any damage right now.
Yeah, with a Rage down to the bottom side, still hanging on that King ability, wants to have that Spiky Ball skip through the final portion of this base, as the Queen, she's on the outside again, slowed down by Skelly's raging the bottom side up. With no more spells at this point, he's looking to have them all converge towards the Town Hall, waiting for the perfect opportunity. There it is, to hit that Spiky Ball through the final remaining buildings, hits that Town Hall, and taking that down for a 1 minute and 13 second 3-star for Exorcist.
Yeah, so not the fastest 3-star. Tribe needs now to hope for not the fastest attack from Pulse Gaming on the other side, because otherwise they are about to lose that first match, which, as we have talked about earlier, would be not good whatsoever. Yes, those teams have like a second life within that tournament because it's a double elimination bracket, but still, we have not had it often that teams are coming back from that lower bracket. It's not easy whatsoever to accomplish that.
All it takes is one attack to make the difference. And in terms of attacks so far for Tribe, we've had a minute 14, a minute 14, a minute 13, a minute 13. They're all right next to each other in terms of time. But while on Pulse Gaming side, we've had a minute 4 seconds. We had a minute 11 seconds, a minute 24 seconds. So we're getting a lot of variable attacks coming in from Pulse. So we still have 2 more attacks to go for them, and it could go any direction. So Tribe's been very consistent with their attacks and times, but it really is going to come down to Sahara and NYU, both for Pulse, who still have attacks.
And they are in now. Sahara is coming in, but it looks like with a lava... What? With a lava loon attack? What is going on here? We have a lava loon.
Whoa. That
is something which we don't see as often as well. The rocket spear is coming in from that top side with that royal gem together. We have the lava loon starting from the top left side with a super early warning ability. That blimp flying all the way. Is it supposed to get that tunnel? Because the sweeper is there as well, making sure that, well, is it going to reach all the way? It is.
Okay. It does make it, but the Town Hall goes straight down. The Yeti might jump straight into it. We did have a jump spell, which the King looks like he didn't get too much. The Royal Champion there kind of slowed him down, as now we're sending balloons off to the right side. We do have 2 freezes, 2 hastes to continue to push these balloons through. That Queen, she's raged up. She's trying to move her way through. At least the healers were raged as he has those balloons pushing into the scatter shot, and it's looking like it's going to be a 3-star here, but the question's about time.
Oh no, the ice golems are freezing things up, which means those dunes are reaching that merge cannon a little bit later. The minions are doing their best of clearing out the defense. The top left gold storage should go down, and it's going to be 1 minute and last building going down. 1 minute 14 seconds, I believe, which is going to be another tie. What, or how many seconds is the difference? Is it an exact tie?
No, Pulse Gaming have a 1 second lead total. In terms of total time, Pulse Gaming is at 4 minutes, 53 seconds of a total attack duration, while Tribe Gaming is at 4 minutes, 54 seconds. It is as close as you can be right now. Wow. It coming down to the captain, Kronos, versus NYU in this very first match.
Tribe had the lead earlier into the match of 1 second. Then after the next set of attacks, we had Pulse Gaming having a lead of 2 seconds, and now this lead did go down to 1 second in favor of Pulse Gaming. Kronos is the last attacker of Tribe, the team captain. He needs a really quick attack to make sure that there's a lot of pressure then on Pulse Gaming side.
Remember, I can help see the stats from behind the scenes of the exact duration, but that might be different than the average time that's calculated in the actual war. So we'll still have to stay tuned to see if it ends up being like a 1 second differential, because it might be getting rounded to being the exact same in game. But we're seeing here Kronos now coming in with the dragons, and he's got to be as quick as possible as the dragons are down with that Grand Warden. Queen's going to stay on the left side, moving through. See a baby dragon up to the top as well. There's a few balloons waiting on the Warden Eternal Tome, and there is the blimp now protecting the dragons and the blimp as they're flying towards that town hall.
Yeah, but remember, this is going to be the Rage Aura of the Warden, which means there is no recovery. The Poison Tower, the Scatter Shot, the Multi-Inferno Tower, all this damage, he cannot recover this whatsoever. So this is really important to note. He has 3 Earthquakes to make sure that with the Spiky Ball together, he can clear out the core in the end, like those core buildings. I guess that is where this Spiky Ball is supposed to go. But so far, the dragons are splitting quite badly, and he's already in 50 seconds into this attack.
Yes, as he needs to rely on this. Oh, there's the Ice Golems. Unfortunately, this might be a pretty slow attack if the dragons cannot converge towards the backside. There's the Earthquakes. Pops that King's Ability, snipes that single, snipes the other single target Inferno, but he's got 1 freeze left, and the World Champion's getting slowed down. And look at this backside. It is going to be pretty slow here as the World Champion needs to continue her way through. And oh no, here. And the King dies off as well, and the Mile barely's up. Queen will finish it off. But wait, the World Champion, she's going to get taken out. And this is quite a bit slow here. Now it's only up to the Queen to 3-star this.
Oh no. Queen going for another wall, and like at this point, Tribe Gaming needs a defense. As long as Pulse Gaming is 3-starring, with their just getting close to their average time on 3, like what they have achieved so far, they should win this match, because this attack was not quick whatsoever. She has to go through another wall to reach that Archer Tower, and this means, yes, it's going to be a 3-star, but more than 2 minutes of a 3-star attack.
Way too long there, which means indeed, like you said, Pulse Gaming, all they have to do is 3-star, and as long as it is not longer than 2 minutes and 9 seconds, which is how long Kronos' attack was there, they will be victorious.
That's right. Pulse Gaming, with their last attack, they have everything in their own hands, which is always a great feeling as a player. It's not less stressful, but it is nice knowing that you have everything under control. You can decide the outcome of this match, deciding which team is dropping in the lower bracket, which team is staying in the upper bracket and is facing Vatang. Well, Pulse Gaming with their last attack.
And the thing about that next match, or even in the next round, Vatang, they qualified many months ago, and they haven't been in the other ones since, really. And the question is, has that time allowed them to really focus on the Last Chance Qualifier? Because this is the last opportunity to be getting a golden ticket this weekend. But here we go, as NYU is in, and a 3-star faster than 2 minutes and 9 seconds will be enough. He's not looking to just get a faster than 2 minutes and 9 seconds. He's looking to be quick with it, which I could foresee as being an issue, because if you're trying to be super fast, that could lead to like a problem and maybe not 3-starring.
But the blimp has reached the town hall. The town hall is going down with those Yeti Mites. Indeed, he still has that king ability. The Queen Not seeing her right now. We have minions everywhere, but the monolith has stayed up. The scatter shot is staying up as well.
Oh,
and wait a second.
Whoa.
Where are those loons? What just happened?
A lot of balloons have disappeared. There's no way. Wait a second. The King's making his way down south. The Ice Golem's there. The single remains. The monolith and the scatter are both still up. This could not have been a defense. All he had to do was focus on a 3-star and could Rikira's base save Tribe Gaming.
What is going on? We have seen so many Root Rider attacks, which are really safe 3-stars for those pros. But they have went with their Lalo attack, which is optimized for time, not for the safety purpose of 3-starring. But they had no time to change the plan. That's my assumption. They had no time to change the plan, and I don't think that King is quick enough to get through the wall. Or can they? Is this coming down to time? No, that King is going down, right?
No, there's no Phoenix on this King. The Milef is there. There's no way he could take that down. The King is gone, and my friends, the Angry Jelly's trying to stay alive, but can't. And it's a 2-star 98% for NYU and Pulse Gaming, which means Tribe hangs on and wins 15-14. And what a defense coming in from Rikira's in the end, helping them stay alive in the upper bracket. And they are taking a huge sigh of relief now.
I think the base building team of Tribe Gaming is currently really happy. I think Stefan right now has to like clap in his hands or something. I don't know who exactly built the base, but we know that Stefan is one of the main base builders for Tribe. But what just happened there? We just said that he just has the 3-star, which, yes, I know it still sounds easier than it is, but for the pros currently, the meta is somewhat offense favored, to say the least. And then in the last attack, he had no time to change the plan. That's my only guess. While we have seen such a risky attack as the last attack right there, and it has cost them quite a bit, because this means we're going to see Tribe Gaming in the upper bracket versus Vatang, while Pulse Gaming is dropping into the lower bracket with waiting for their opponent then later today.
And I mentioned it right when the attack was going in. He was looking to be fast, but he didn't have to be. He just had to beat 2 minutes and 9 seconds, essentially. And when you're trying to be very quick, it can lead to a fail. And unfortunately, that was the case there that came in for NYU, hitting the 98% 2-star. And it wasn't like it was even a time fail as well. It was the Milef that took out his King, and he had nothing left. So unfortunate that things like that can happen, but it's the name of the game. It is never over until the match hits zeros and all the attacks are in, and Tribe Gaming survived.
Somehow survived indeed. 98%, the difference maker in the end. Take a look at the time. Otherwise, except the last 2 attacks, all of those attacks were around the same mark.
Yeah.
The only exception, Shihawa for Pulse Gaming with 1 minute 4 seconds, and then we had Wado with the first attack being 1 minute 24 seconds. But otherwise, the average, they were so close to the entire match, and then the last 2 attacks deciding the entire match in just a few seconds.
And just winning this match here, keeping you in the upper bracket, not only is that going to give you way better odds of moving through the competition, but also a mental note to be able to now be able to take a deep breath and know that you still have another opportunity if you were to lose in the upper bracket, as Tribe now has. But let's go and welcome back Woody here to the desk. And Woody, what was your thoughts on that final attack as Tribe Gaming stays alive?
Yeah, that was certainly not the way that I expected Tribe to pick up a win there, although they were the caster prediction across the board. I think we were all expecting it was going to be a reversal in that last hit, but the defenses held on, and that is the story of Tribe Gaming years running now. A team with such high consistency, they don't miss their attacks, they build super strong defenses, and even if they have a little hiccup here and there, they never open themselves up to big star losses. Whereas on the other side, even if Pulse Gaming had an advantage in being able to attack second, that's 3 more minutes to prep for every attack, the opportunity to know what you have to do, what bar is set that you have to surpass. that advantage really materializes whenever their opponents make a mistake early on, because then that lets them reset, change their tactics, go for a safer strategy. That was not the case in this last attack. We saw a very slow hit from Tribe, but no follow-up preparation time from Pulse to be able to take advantage of that. And so we saw a really unfortunate hit that just came 2% shy of giving them a win and sending them on in the upper bracket. That's how close Clash of Clans competitive events can be, Itsu.
Yeah, I mean, that was just crazy. We all already said, okay, that's pretty much over. And especially as Carmen said, all of those matches finish with the last second. Like, until then, anything can happen, and we have just seen it within that match, falling those two bidding short with their, well, I guess Lalo specific strategy which they have prepared for this tournament, for this Last Chance Qualifier. It has worked earlier, but for this one it was not working as they were hoping for, with all of the splash damage and everything. The dunes were going down too quick, and this has caused them then quite some problems, Carbon.
Indeed, but let's now update you on the bracket and where these teams stand. With that victory, Tribe will now be advancing in the upper bracket to be taken on Vatang, who had a first round bye. We had HTM Esports also with a first round bye, so we'll be seeing them in round 2. But the next matchup that we are going to be watching is going to be Momentum Shifters taking on Dizi Esports. Remember, this is a double elimination. We will be sending 2 teams home today, and we'll be watching the Final Four battle it out tomorrow to eventually try to crown that final golden ticket winner. But this next matchup, Itsu, is going to be still another fantastic one you do not want to miss. And, oh, it looks like Judo and myself don't have our predictions, and it's because Judo and myself both did pick Dizi. So we both picked Dizi Esports. Itsu and Woody, you guys both picked Momentum Shifters. So what was your thoughts behind picking Momentum Shifters there, Itsu?
Seems like you did not read the script because the clan logo was not there. I mean, that's totally on you. No, I'm kidding. I feel like Momentum Shifters is on such a good run recently. They had struggled in one of the qualifiers, but that was because one of their main roster players was not available to play, so they had to play with a substitute, which did unfortunately not perform to the level of the rest of the team. So I feel like the team itself overall is currently one of the best teams in the world, and to me, one of the top teams to watch actually to win this entire thing. Dizi Esports is for sure not bad whatsoever, but I feel like just with the momentum Shifters have currently, they're just looking really, really good, Woody.
Right, you are. And I'll echo what you said there, Itsu. I picked the Momentum Shifters as well. This is a team that was in not just 1, but 2 of the Clash of Clans World Championship qualifiers. They started out really strong early in the year, taking 2nd place in the June qualifier where they earned their silver ticket, and then later came back in the July qualifier. No, we hadn't seen them since then, except they did make a great showing in the Snapdragon Pro Series. They took 1st place in the 4th Cup. That was one of the qualifiers for that final season, and earned an appreciable prize there as well. They took 3rd place later on in the Cosmo League Advanced Division Season 1. And so this is certainly a team that shows up in the top 1, 2, 3 of many tournaments across this year. On the other side, Dizi Esports is a little bit more hit and miss. They only had 1 showing at a World Championship qualifier earlier this year in May, where they took 3rd place, and they earned their silver ticket by getting the 1st place spot in the Global Clash Cup Gothic division just last month. So they have really come blasting back at the end of this year, but I don't know if that's going to be enough to carry them on to defeat a team like Momentum Shifters. It certainly is going to be a close match, though, and one that I'm really looking forward to watching. Carbon?
Yes, it's going to be a fantastic match, as this is now match number 2 of the Last Chance Qualifiers. The winner of this will be taking on HTM Esports, as Dizi Esports just has a 99.9. Look at that there, as they are coming with an incredible hit rate there, and I cannot wait for this matchup at 2.
It looks like another team where we have 4 players looking all with a 100% hit rate, and one player is struggling a little bit. Let's hope that this is not going to be the case today. Everyone has to show up, get those 15 stars, and make sure that they are as quick as possible with their attacks. But you have said it, Dizi as well, no joke whatsoever. I mean, to be honest, all of those teams which you have in this Last Chance Qualifier are just incredible and deserve their spot for sure in this competition. But with the average sets which we have already seen, we have with momentum shifters then on the other side 14.8 stars on average. That's one of the highest average stars we have currently in the world with this tournament, which is just really crazy to think about. So those two teams now going head to head will be a really fun showdown to watch.
And you can see players from Dizi Esports here wrecking bases of golden ticket teams. Like VM Legacy, we still have a lot of high hopes for players here like Yaga, who were perfect in the previous monthly qualifiers. The stats that we saw on the screen earlier were only from the monthly qualifiers, and so it gives us another sense of how these teams are performing only in that super high echelon event. For the other side, though, we've got the momentum shifters on here now, and once again, it's all 4 players with perfect records, and just one coming up barely short from Zekin here with an average damage of 98%. Still a very admirable hit throughout the months that we've seen him so far. You're going to get a chance to see some of those replays of the combat that they've had in previous World Championship qualifiers where they take down these bases in record time. Just see how much time remains on these attacks. Well, that one from Imran was a bit slower, but still enough to get an impressive victory over teams like Millicene that have qualified multiple times in a row. So I think that we're going to have an extraordinary match to watch ahead of us.
And all it takes is one small mistake. All of these players are so good at getting those 3 stars, bringing in the quick triples, but we've seen in the previous match, all it takes is one mistake. You fail to get that 1 triple, and you can cost your team the match and a chance at staying in the upper bracket. But luckily, it is double elimination. You have that second chance opportunity. As it is the Last Chance Qualifier, there's no other opportunity for a golden ticket this year. This is it, so you got to make the most of it if you want to be going to Helsinki and going to Super Fest and try to compete on the big stage, Itsu.
Yeah, the big stage, the World's Finals, the Clash Fest, the Super Fest is actually the goal for all of those teams, because this is then as well where the crazy prize pool is going to be given away on top of that, and being able to play in front of their fans, play in front of a big crowd is as well such a crazy experience. And take a look at this. The fan votes is actually pretty close, 53% for momentum shifters though. But that was closer than expected, to be honest, considering... Or actually, is it surprising, Woody? I mean, both teams looked really strong in their qualifiers, right?
They did indeed. Yeah, 4 players out of the 5 on each team with perfect hit rates. These are 2 teams that also got 2 of the forecaster predictions each. So it would be, it only makes sense that it's basically a coin flip among the viewers as well. 53% to 47% is certainly within the margin of error. And this might actually be the closest matchup that we have of all of the teams that are competing. They're both just so extraordinarily skilled, but neither one of them has those year-long experiences of showing up at Worlds year after year to give us the confidence that they would be a team that has enough consistency, power, or strength to be the team that we would all expect to advance. I think that their stories have not yet been written, and this next match will determine the team that everyone is going to have their eyes on going forward in the upper bracket. They've got tough foes up against them. HTM and Vatang still waiting to have their opponents march in to combat them, but we have got an excellent match ahead of us. 2 teams that qualified late in the year but still have every chance in the world at earning a golden ticket, Carbon.
Yes, it's going to be an incredible match as well. There's a lot of viewers in the chat that are excited for this one as well. We have our predictions, and we've talked about a little bit of the players, but Itsu, if there was any player in particular on either side, is there one that you think the viewers should keep an eye out for?
I feel like overall, in general, the attackers who are attacking first currently are really important because they're setting up the tone of the match. Where if you're not only 3-starring, obviously, but as well like a quick time early on, like around the 60-second mark, if that is possible for you and your team, it's such a big advantage. I feel like a lot of times, so the first 1 to 2 attackers can have such a big impact on the flow of the match that those are the most important players in my opinion currently. And I think we have a lot of really good first attackers on both teams, which means this is going to be crazy to see who of those 2 teams is going to show up when it matters most, and if they're going to have as well some tricks on defense, because we have seen now from Tribe and as well from Pulse Gaming in the early stages some interesting base setups with the Ice Dead Monolith. We have seen a lot of the key defenses around the outside ring of the base, which means like merged arch towers, merged cannons, for example, which had their little separated compartments, which made it sometimes a bit unpredictable on when and where the Root Riders would break open with the wall. And at the same time, it could cause some of those troops to redirect, especially like Super Barbarians, Valkyries, or the King with the Angry Jelly, if the follow-up wall was not opened up quick enough. So all of those things have to be considered, and maybe they can cause even a defense or a slower attacking time. That would be the things I'm looking for, Woody.
Yeah, great things to point out there. I also remember early in the last war that Carbon was pointing out that Pulse Gaming had a lot of solo monoliths well protected in the base. It turned out that actually it was a solo monolith over on Tribe's side that ultimately gave them the win in that very last attack, defending and earning a 2-star 98% on defense. So keep an eye on the monolith as well, another very important structure, especially when you're relying on heroes to clean up at the end of the attack. But if there were one player that I would be looking forward to watching today, it would be Ahmad. He's a player on the Momentum Shifters that did not get an opportunity to fight on the main stage in the last time that team was fighting for a golden ticket. Instead, he had to sit back, watch, keep his fingers crossed, and hope that his team could move on. We're very fortunate to have him back in the arena again today, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how he comes back, what his thought process is going to be on the attacks that he brings, and if he's going to be able to score that 3-star that he's been looking forward to, Carbon.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the lineup here, and I actually don't see him. I see Spray in the lineup for Momentum Shifters here. So we have Spray, we have Sean, we have Imran, we have Leo, and we have Zidkin coming in from Momentum Shifters. But what we are going to be getting ready for is match number 2. So we're going to say goodbye to Itzu for this one here. It'll be Woody and myself. And then we'll be bringing back Judo in the next match as well. So if you guys have been wondering where he is, he's been watching on the sideline. He'll be coming back very soon as well. But this is now match number 2. Winner of this one is going to be taking on HTM Esports, who got a first round bye. And HTM Esports, they were the world champions from last year under us Clash champs. So the pressure's on for them as well to try to be getting that final golden ticket to try to defend that crown, Woody.
Right, you are. Superb showing ahead of us, as well as the first attacker is going to be Ueda going up against Zken on defense. Ueda is a player who has been fighting with Dizi and doesn't have a whole lot to say. We send out player questionnaires before these matches begin, asking them who their favorite players are, who their rivals are, what teams they want to play against, and Ueda is just the stone cold boss of this lineup. He is the guy who is going to be at the top if he has anything to say about it, the guy that everyone else is looking forward to, looking up to, trying to surpass. So will he be, as the very first attacker from Dizi, the one to set the tone for this entire match, to give them a 3-star in quick time? As we saw from the last war, we're looking for attacks that are right around that 85-second mark. Quicker than that, and you've got a solid chance at winning a tiebreaker on time. But any slower, and you really do open yourself up to a reversal. On the other side, Zken is the only player on Momentum Shifters who missed a 3-star in one of his previous attacks, so everything is on his shoulders, expecting him to get stellar defense if possible, and to try to score a 3-star of his own. Anything to note about the play styles overall for these two teams, Carbon?
I would just say it's probably going to be a lot of Root Riders and Valks because it allows you to be very quick. So we're going to see if maybe the one question will be, will we see a Fireball here today? Because that is also a pretty fast attack, but maybe these base builders know that and they're trying their best to prevent anything like that from coming in, as we are now seeing the Root Riders Valkyries coming straight on in from the right, popping that War Internal Tome as the Queen. She's on the bottom side. Look at this. She can grab that Town Hall, but he does have to invest the freeze as the Queen can secure the Town Hall as these Root Riders and Valks can push their way through, but a lot of the Root Riders kind of got pulled to this Town Hall now here.
Yeah, it's a bit of a strange pathing for them as several had to go up to that top compartment trying to deal with that Tesla farm popping up. Ueda realizes that that's what's happening and is going to try to commit a rage spell to get more damage in there, but it is not working out the way that he's expecting. None of those troops are pathing into the rage. The rest of them, Valks and Root Riders, all going to either one side or the other, denying even more value for this poor Grand Warden who's doing his best to keep coverage on as many troops as possible. Now, as many difficulties as he's had, you'll notice that this base is just being completely obliterated, and that definitely shows the strength of Dizi Esports. Even when things don't necessarily go according to plan, they keep their heads on straight, and with a 1 minute and 13-second strike, Ueda has a lot to be proud of. Even if things don't go exactly according to plan, they come away with a 3-star hit to begin with, and Dizi are certainly going to be happy with how that one went.
With this being the very first attack for Dizi, is this going to be one of the faster attacks? Or will it be in kind of an average or one of the slower attacks? Because if this is one of the slower attacks, that is great news for a Dizi, because that means they'll be faster and faster in terms of the attacks. But the player you really have to keep your eye on, that I would have said would be this one attacking next, Spray. He is one of the fastest attackers in the world, so he's going to be looking to hit around that 60-second mark. So let's see if he can do that, as that dragons are down. We got balloons. Queen off to the right side. Arrow flies across from the right side through some expos, but they are ground, so won't be worried about dragons, but it will hit his heroes as he now pops that warning ability to really protect that blimp.
Yeah, the question of which team is going to head out at the top on time-based tiebreakers, only time will tell. We've got still many attacks left to go. Spray giving us a beautiful masterclass performance in Mass Dragons, although it's getting a little bit hairy here as the Grand Warden follows a massive pack up to the top side, while we see Dragon Riders and Dragons along the bottom side trying to perform some additional cleanup. Spray has now got a 2-pronged attack, and although that can get massive DPS in against really tricky bases, it also does leave the troops that are not supported by a Grand Warden vulnerable to big, heavy fire. Fortunately, there's no air defenses to worry about on the bottom left side of that base, and those dragons have been relatively uncontested the whole way through. Are we going to see an attack that can beat the 1 minute and 13 seconds set by the momentum shifters in their previous hit? It looks like it's going to be just at that standard and only 1 second behind a lead early on for Dizi Esports.
Yeah, that's 1 minute 14 seconds, so that was still really quick. It wasn't at the 60-second mark that I was thinking or predicting it would have been. But remember, it's going to be harder and harder to be getting those faster attacks because these builders are doing their absolute best to try to slow these attackers down, because they may know that trying to stop them, like getting that 2-star, is very difficult at this stage. So all they're really trying to do is put those traps in the base to get that time higher and higher. And one of the strategies that the builders do, if you'll notice sometimes on attacks, is the spring traps. They're on the complete outside of the base, right in front of defenses, to launch the super Barbarians, so that they are not able to clean up as fast, so that you then have to come back for those buildings or the funneling isn't set. So it's those small things that might play a role, but we are seeing 3 stars coming in from both sides. So that is a fantastic start for both teams, but they're gonna have to continue that.
Well, right, you are, Carbon Fan, and it is not an easy place to continue from. We saw an absolute knife match in the previous war where Tribe barely were able to squeak out a win despite a slow attack on their 5th run. But that war also started off with a very close tie on time. Attackers almost always coming in right at that 85-second mark, and any seconds that a defender can peel off are going to be oh so important. That's why any little advantage you can get with trap placement, with spreading out buildings, is something that these players are not going to be shy to try to claim. Kai, the next to strike, was the only player who had missed in one of the monthly qualifiers. It will be extraordinarily important for Dizi Esports to score a 3-star here and now. This could be the most important attack from their entire team, Carbon.
Yeah, with the Root Riders and Valks now down pathing his way, but notice again, in this base, there is more area in between the walls and the core defenses to try to really make the pathing of these Root Riders awkward so that it doesn't path into the core. But it looks like he was able to achieve that as he pushes his way through, but now he will have to deal with these ice golems, which are going to slow him down even more. But with the overgrowth on that town hall, he's gonna have to wait for it to come back, but the Queen's in a perfect position to end up go for it and clear that.
That's a big clump of Root Riders right in the core, and as the overgrowth wears off, those defenses are going to activate now. Queen is in an ideal position, as you mentioned there, Carbon, and she will be able to go down to snipe the Town Hall later on. Hopefully that will be able to prevent some of the damage coming in on those Root Riders as they clear out the center compartment, and at 99% and 1 star, the last 2 will be claimed in record succession. It's a 1 minute and 12 strike for Dizi Esports, as Kai has done it, securing a triple for his squad and maintaining the lead over Momentum Shifters.
Well done there, and of course, keeping the Town Hall all the way for the end, it could be a little risky, but in the end, it is a 3-star. And sometimes they have to take the riskiest approach in order to deliver. And in that case, using the overgrowth on the Town Hall is a very common strategy here that we're seeing from the pro scene, because then you don't have to deal with that Town Hall explosion. And even if sometimes they pass it and then have to turn all the way back around, but still a great job there getting that 3-star. With Dizi Esports at a minute 13 and a minute 12, we saw a spray come in from our Momentum Shifters at a minute 14, so every one of these attacks are within a second of each other.
Well, you know what they say, Carbon? Risk it for the ticket. We need a golden ticket and nothing short of that this weekend. And all of these teams are not only going to be putting their best foot forward, but even taking a few risky shots here and there to try to eke out a few seconds over their opponent. That can spell the difference between qualification and ignominious defeat. Let's watch Imran now from the Momentum Shifters trying to get the lead back in their favor. He'll need a 1 minute and 11 second strike in order to get closer to what the Dizi Esports squad has put up so far. Mass Dragons are going awfully fast, but what's drawing your attention here, Carbon?
The monolith is not going down. I was going to say he was waiting too long, and the Queen arrow hit the monolith, but the builders were repairing, which means that now the monolith locks onto the healers, almost took that Queen down. So let's see how he's going to counteract that. But remember, he also probably has a spiky ball with that king.
No!
Rip to the Queen. She's gone.
The Queen eliminated, and Imran is now having to late drop that free spell onto the monolith just to ensure that the Dragon Rider, Dragon, and Balloons can make it there in time to take it down, but that will be successful. The Queen was an important but not integral part to his 3-star strategy, and in fact, despite losing her, he is going to have a record fast finish on this base. We are approaching the 80-second mark, and it goes down! A triple for Imran will put Momentum Shifters in the lead. Even if only by a second. This is an incredibly close war so far, Carbon.
Are you serious? I'm looking at the time right now. With the Queen even dying and not staying alive, this is still the fastest attack so far of this match at 1 minute and 10 seconds. Incredible, and really came down to the value of the spiky ball. And if you are wondering if you should be upgrading your spiky ball, let this be the case for you. You can see it skipping through, and what they're doing is they're not really putting the giant gauntlet, they're waiting to use the spiky ball towards the end. So a lot of the case, we're seeing now the revival of the vamp stash coming, because then the king can get healed up slowly, but then also the earthquake boost to allow the king to open up even more walls to step his way into the base. So really, it's almost like the King ability is being saved for the very end to skip through those critical defenses.
Well, very, very well said. We know that there is a lot to be said for an extraordinary, epic equipment like that bouncy ball. However, do keep in mind that there's some balance changes that are going to be coming out shortly. So not quite sure if Spiky Ball is going to be as useful as it had been in the past. We will see, as we don't have access to only 2 things in this tournament. The Druid sitting out, and the Archer Queen's new mirror equipment is not going to be available, but everything else is being brought to bear in this Last Chance Qualifier, and that just makes the World Championship that much more exciting to watch, seeing how the players are going to adjust to those balance changes and make new use of these equipments. We've got a few more rounds of combat here still in this war, with a very tight matchup so far between Dizi Esports and the Momentum Shifters, and that is just what we would have expected with such a tight prediction line between these two teams. I know that fans of both squads are cheering them on as loud as they can in the chat, at home, watching with their predictions locked in at event.supercell.com, and hoping beyond hope that this final opportunity, this Last Chance Qualifier, will be the time for their team to move on, Carbon.
Because there is only one golden ticket left to be given away here to join the other remaining 5 teams, because there's only a total of 6 this year. Remember, last year we had 8, so the field has narrowed down, so it is harder to be getting that golden ticket. But that also means that there's going to be more prize money individually up for grabs for these teams, since there's less for these teams to split. So it is, if you win this, you not only get $10,000 for winning that golden ticket, but you also then immediately guarantee yourself last place in the World Championship, which is still an incredible amount of money. So there's a lot on the line.
And there is a lot on the line for Den in this next attack as well. Den, a superstar player for this Dizi Esports squad. He was actually one of the competitors in a previous World Championship back in 2022. He was competing for X Team Esports, and so he is seeking to reclaim that opportunity to move back into the World Championships once again. Fighting with Dizi is the best chance he's got, and he is not going to miss this opportunity, Carbon.
And this one, he actually used that King ability early there, so not towards the end with any earthquakes, as we are seeing now a Warden Eternal Tome. We got some freezes onto the Ice Golems right over near the Monolith and the defensive Ice Golems, as we have Valks now coming out of the Siege Break from the right. They're getting pushed straight into a wall. It looks like, oh, they're running around as some walls opened up. The Queen and King are together at the top side, but he needs to path his way towards that town hall, as the overgrowth will eventually disappear.
It will, and it's all about the timing on that spell. You want to drop it early enough that it's going to wear off soon enough for your troops to finally destroy the last few defenses. Not so late, though, that you take too much damage on the front end of that spell. And we're seeing a little bit of difficulty here for the Grand Warden, getting a little bit low as those 2 Inferno Towers are heating him up. He does survive, though, and it's going to be the last round of defenses to finish off. A bit slower this time from Den, though, as we're passing that 80-second mark and see it now at the 83-second overall. Quite a bit slower than the previous hits from Dizi, and that is going to increase their time and return the advantage back to the Momentum Shifters once again, pushing further into this mid-war with a strong offense.
Yeah, with 1:23 seconds coming in from Den there, but in the very first match that we saw, Tribe Gaming, they came in with a very slow attack, but it was enough to win because they won by a star. There was a 1 defense, a 1 fail in the final attack that came in from Pulse Gaming, which was from NYU in the very first match. So that could still happen in this one here, as there is only 2 more attacks coming in from Dizi, but 3 here left from Momentum Shifters, as Leo is now leading the charge with the Root Riders and Valkyries as well, starting off with a couple Super Barbs to pick out some outside defenses. We have the Queen's Arrow now coming in, flying a little bit off to the right side, as the Root Riders, Valks are down, not waiting, as the Ice Golems are also getting lured out of this clan castle.
Yeah, superb job with those Barbarians on the outside, ensuring that the funneling is just ideal for these heroes. Barb King, Archer Queen, all around are finding lots of great juicy targets to chew on and sending those Root Riders directly into the core. Overgrowth shuts down the Town Hall, and that Monolith will be taken care of nice and early on. We don't want to see that be a problem for the late stage of this attack. Leo is a roaring lion as he charges through this base, walloping defenses left and right with still an extraordinarily strong army, and now super minions from that clan castle to back up and bolster the rest of this hit. This might be the quickest attack so far this war, Carbon. He's pumping his fist, he's licking his chops. He is so excited with this showing.
That was a 59-second 3-star from Leo under the 60-second mark. Incredible. Now setting the tone for momentum shifters in style. And they've got quite a bit of a lead right now over Dizi Esports. All tied up in stars. But time is heavily on momentum shifters' side. Well done to Leo there.
An extraordinary attack from Leo in record time. The quickest, not just of this war, but the quickest so far today. Any sub 1 minute attack is basically an ace in my book. And with a strike like that, you can not only turn the tides, but you can solidify a win. It is now extremely difficult for Dizi Esports to make a comeback happen at this point with so much time in momentum shifters' favor. Look at that, a 12-second average difference. Multiplied by 3, that's 36 seconds to make up for Dizi Esports. And I don't think that it can be done without an extremely impressive defense from them and superb offense all the way through. Let's see if Chin can keep that hope alive.
Yeah, with the Root Rider already deployed to the top side, we have the Queen going to the bottom into the Eagle Artillery. But in between, we have those Root Riders and Valkyries pathing their way through as the Overgrowth does hit not only the Town Hall, but also the single target Inferno. We can really protect this Queen as she's walking by herself down south with no ability since she's already burned the healer puppet there. As the King, he's on the right side, pushing his way into the Ricochet Cannon. There's the Earthquake and the Spiky Ball skipping through.
Bouncing around and finding lots of different modes of attack on this base. Chen is attacking from basically every single angle, and it's going to have to collapse onto the Town Hall at the very end here. He fires off a freeze, but doesn't get the Town Hall, and there's still a single target Inferno that a skeleton spell is doing its best to take down. It's slowly but surely coming together as Chen hopes that the rest of these attackers are going to be enough to finish it off, but I don't know if it's going to work. The Root Riders are down. The Royal Champion is eliminated, and the final Super Barbs are not enough to clinch the 3-star. Chen has missed on this attack, Carbon.
And we have yet another fail coming in here. The first one from this match, but we did see one fail in match number 1 coming from Pulse Gaming. And this was looking like, well, we've got another fail as well. And all you have to do at the moment is get that perfect war, and you don't have to worry about time. So now, momentum shifters, they just get 2 triples, they win. But if they fail one attack, it must be a 96% or higher to still have that lead.
That is such a heart-wrenching loss for Chien. In the middle of this war, when his team was looking for a lightning-fast strike, he put it all on the line to try to deliver the goods. But that is the sort of difficulty that you will find time and again. When you're at the mid-war and that far behind on time, you have got to throw everything you've got at a base to try to make up that difference. Chen did so, but he came up just slightly short. 5% left on that base is not a whole lot to be proud of, but still, he came in extraordinarily close to giving his team the edge that they would have needed to get a victory to happen here. It's a team win or a team loss, and ultimately, Chen knows that he was in a tough spot and just couldn't bring it forward. But it's not quite over yet. The momentum shifters need to avoid the disaster of a 2-star themselves, and Sean will be the next to up at bat, going up against this base from Kai, Carbon.
Yeah, with Sean coming in, Root Riders and Valks as well, continuing. As with that arrow flying right on through that Eagle Artillery, pairing the skeleton spells out in front so that we have some defenses getting distracted, including the defensive World Champion as he pairs in his RC. Queen's making her way to the left side, but at this point, Woody, now the question's going to be, will they focus on just getting 3-star? Or are they still going to try to go for time? Because at this point, they don't have to fight for time, because if you try to be quick, you could have a small mistake.
You are absolutely right there, Carbon. And with so little time to change up their attack strategy, expect Sean to still have a pretty quick attack here. He might have been able to make a spell adjustment or a slight change on the back end to give himself a little bit more robustness instead of seeking that time efficiency. What caught your eye?
Just the red air bomb field that was off to the super minions to the right side, but he's okay. It was one minion that helped pull that, but he's good. It's all good here for Sean as this way. I say that now. Hold on. We got a freeze there onto the top side, but the World Champ still making her way through. Queen stuck on a wall to the bottom, pushing his way into the single, and he's good. You know what I'm looking at here? We got a little sneaky goblin off of the camera at the bottom left there of Sean's webcam. But look at that goblin, just barely, he's dancing.
Yeah! He's a jammin' fellow. Happy to celebrate another superb victory for Sean here. And yeah, I think you might be right. Sean recognized that the momentum shifters don't have to worry so much about time anymore. He went a little bit slower on this one, actually crossing that 90-second threshold. This would typically be very worrying for an attacker, and yet when they have that percentage advantage already, it is all about the safe wins from this point on. Superb heads-up play from Sean to adapt that quickly and ensure that the 3-star came in with style yet again. It's going to be one more defense now from the momentum shifters as they are trying to weather the storm that Jaga is bringing in this next strike. A 3-star required from Dizi to even hope that a defense will be enough to get them the win. But Leo is not going to give up a defense easily. He is going to do everything he can to hold on to that final star and ensure that this is going to remain in the momentum shifters' favor. Jaga bringing a mass dragon army, spiky ball on that king, and we are going to be firing a giant arrow through the space. So take a look at that rocket spear on that royal champion.
Ooh. Yeah, with that arrow right off the bat for the Queen, flying through the base, and a stone slammer to lead the charge to the top side as the dragons are down. As Yaga's looking to take down Leo, Leo came in with a 59-second 3-star in his attack for momentum shifters, as we are pairing in that warning and turtle tome right now as ice golems are getting lured out.
As another unusual pick for this Barbarian King, pairing him up with the Mighty Yak. Much more often we've seen the Phoenix, or maybe even perhaps the Angry Jelly with that Barbarian King. Bringing in the Mighty Yak brings a lot more hit points out on the front end and allows that King to basically act alone on the left corner of that base, soaking so many hit points and supporting the long range of this Royal Champion, firing her Rocket Spear as they catch a Tesla farm on that corner. Dragons are spread out a bit, and with an Earthquake spell in the core, they're going to try to get a little bit more damage in against this Town Hall early on. Jaga is running out of steam, though, as these troops are far spread out, and with the death of his Grand Warden, he does not have any additional hero support. Spiky Ball bounces into the core, but will it be enough for a 3-star Carbon?
The Ground Expo, though, locked on the RC. It's going to take her down. Still has the Queen, still moving through with one super barb left, possibly could be used on the cannon down to the bottom left side. It is distracted onto some of the skeletons at the moment, but not deploying that final troop. But he's got plenty of time. They know time's not going to be a factor here in this match, as they do already have one fail that came in with a 95% for Dizi. So all momentum shifters have to do is get a 96% 2-star, and they will be victorious in this match. They will be advancing in the upper bracket, and the next team they would be facing, if they win, will be none other than the defending world champions, HTM Esports.
Well, it looks like Dizi Esports have also taken their foot off the gas pedal, nitrous unloaded from their vehicle, because they are going for safe strikes as well. The momentum shifters so far ahead on time in the early war produced a defense in the mid-war that now has them leaving just one more strike to finish this off for final victory. Zekin has missed in the past, but it would be an extraordinary upset if another war hinged on the very final hit and saw an upset turnaround. Expect to see the safest possible 3-star attempt from Zekin here. Time is not a factor. As long as he can get a 96% 2-star or better, in fact, the momentum shifters will carry the day, Carbon.
And we got some healers looking like they transferred off to this king as he's going to utilize this jump spell to push his way straight into the core as he's not waiting. Root Riders are already down with that Grand Warden Eternal Tome being used as the Ice Golems got lured out.
Overgrowth spell goes down into the core, and it will not be able to trigger on those scatter shots. Lots of damage could be coming out against those poor Root Riders. Trying to keep them safe as best we can in this Grand Warden's aura, and yet he's getting frozen on the backside. Those Ice Golems slowing him down and denying the support for those Root Riders on the front end. They're taking a walloping, but we'll keep on pushing through as the Grand Warden returns to support. Barbarian King still in the action, and the Town Hall will reactivate. The Overgrowth is down, and with a freeze spell just missing the Builder Hut, he still is able to nab most of the defenses in the core. Valkyries, with their final swing of death, give a whirlwind performance to knock out the center of the base. And as we pass the 2-star 95% mark, momentum shifters have defeated Dizi Esports and will march onward with another 3-star to the perfect war performance. Carbon Finn.
A fantastic job there. Unfortunately, Dizi Esports will be getting sent to the lower brackets, but their hopes are not dashed just yet. They'll have that last chance opportunity in this last chance qualifier to try to win through the lower bracket, to be getting a golden ticket, because tomorrow we will be giving away the 6th and final golden ticket this year to join the rest of the 5 teams out in Helsinki, Finland for the November 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, the weekend of Superfest. So you do not want to miss that. It's going to be an incredible weekend, and thousands and thousands of dollars are on the line for that.
Extraordinary showing in that last war, and the momentum shifters have done it again. A superb squad from the year's beginning. They are now fighting tooth and nail here through the last chance qualifier to be the team that can claim that golden ticket. But as you said before, HTM Brazil, the reigning world champions, wait for them in the next spot of this bracket, and it will be a terrifying fight to continue onward against such an insurmountable foe. Will momentum shifters do it? We will find out later today, as only one war remains in between that opportunity. Next up is going to be Vatang versus Tribe, but we've got a little bit more to say about this past war. We saw a 15 versus 14-star performance, and so once again it was extraordinarily high hit rates across the board. 90% overall hit rate in our matches so far today, with 18 out of 20 hits being 3-stars, and it really seems like the offensive meta is here to stay for the year, Carbon.
It is. It really is here, as it's taking down base after base, but all it takes is that one small mistake, and we've seen in both of these matches here that there's been a fail. Neither one has been perfect, so time has not, well, I'm saying time has not been a factor, but it almost really has, because they might try to be fast and it's causing them to fail. So in theory, it kind of almost really is. But still, at the end of the day, look at the most impressive hit. Leo coming in with 59 seconds. I am curious to see if that is his fastest attack ever, breaking the 60-second mark, or if he's been quicker, because that is incredibly fast.
Yeah, a stellar performance, and definitely the MVP in my book. A full 11 seconds faster than the next quickest hit. And it is official. The most valuable player of your second match in the last chance qualifier is momentum shifters Leo.
Incredible job there. Spray coming in second with the votes. And Zagan coming in third with 11%, but still an incredible job that we saw from Momentum Shifters there as they will be advancing. But, you know, we've got someone joining us here at the Dazzle, so welcome the one and only Judo Sloth here. Judo, welcome back, and what an incredible match we had here, but also match number one. What's been your thoughts so far here today?
Wow, what can I say? Match number one, we all predicted it, right? We all went for Tribe. We knew it all along. Match number two, though, the one that you just cast, just again, up and downs. It's surprising how you think the match is potentially going one way and things can change, but that attack from Leo was next level. The sub 1 minute attacks are always special, aren't they, Carbon?
They are indeed, but it's time now to jump to the bracket. So let's see where these teams currently stand here, Woody.
It is advancement for Tribe Gaming and the Momentum Shifters, moving onward in the upper bracket into round 2, where they will fight off against Vatang and HTM Esports respectively. This bracket will be concluded by the end of day tomorrow, and it is going to be a whirlwind event to find out which one moves on to the grand finals and claims that golden ticket. On the bottom side, we still have Dizi Esports and Pulse Gaming fighting for their lives. In the lower bracket, they've suffered one loss, and in double elimination, that's all you can stand before you get kicked out. The Last Chance Qualifier has little room for error, Carbon.
Yes, these teams are really fighting here. It's going to be a close match, but take a look at our predictions now, and oh my, take a look at this. We are going yet again unanimous across the board, picking Tribe. We were right in match one, but now Vatang is going to be looking to upset our predictions here. And Judo, you and I both had Dizi. We were both wrong for match two, but what was your thought process of picking Tribe here?
Well, I think that when I look at the attack times, Kronos, back when they qualified through the Snapdragon Pro Series, he had the fastest attack time of the entire tournament, in that of 1 minute. And he was the player that you could say slipped up in the last match, or clutched it up for them in the end as to how it turned out. But we know he's capable of those fast times, and Tribe have been pretty consistent through the attack times as well. Plus, Vatang, in their fastest player, Spray, actually ended up transferring off the team. He was the one that got the fastest attacks for them back when they qualified in April. So I think, should it come down to time, which a lot of matches do, then that's why I went for Tribe. But how about yourself?
Well, I picked Tribe as well because they've been really strong, and it would be really crazy to see that they're not in the World Championship, but anything can happen. But it's time now for this next match. Tribe Gaming taking on Vatang. And here we go. It's going to be an incredible match. Cannot wait.
We have a superb lineup for both of these teams, Carbon Finn. Let's take a look first at Tribe Gaming. Once again, this extraordinary squad will be carrying a banner that has been at every World Championship except one. And they are going to make sure, if there's anything in their power to prevent it, they will not be there to let this squad down for the 2024 year. But their foes are going to be fearsome. It is a tough showing against Vatang, another team that has been at the World Championships. In 2019, they were defeated by Nova Esports at the very end. They also showed up in 2020, where they were defeated by Alternate Attacks, another World Championship squad, and they were there in 2021. But in 2021, they were defeated by none other than Tribe. That makes this a killer rematch for these two squads, with Tribe holding the upper hand, but Vatang seeking revenge.
Indeed, and we have a couple of players that transferred onto Vatang, as you just seen on the screen, so that's why we don't have any stats for them. Spray and Invincible, who helped Vatang qualify, did move across to other teams. But again, I think both of these teams, as you said, Woody, are veterans in the esports scene. They have players that have competed for years on end, and I think that's something which really comes down to it in the last chance qualifier, because I don't know whether we've even stressed that enough today. This really is their last chance. I know it's double elimination, but experience really comes into play.
Yeah, experience. Let's see who's going to be able to win this match and get closer to the grand finals. As we are taking a look, 77% are picking Tribe Gaming here in this match from home. I mean, we picked Tribe Gaming across the board, but I am curious to see. So I will be stepping away for this match, as it will be Woody and Judo. You guys will be taking over this one, so best of luck. It's going to be a fantastic match.
Thank you very much, Carbon Finn. And I do want to reiterate the importance not just of both Tribe and Vatang individually, but the history of the two teams that are in this match. Tribe and Vatang were already both well-respected and highly accomplished teams in the early era of Clash of Clans esports. Looking into the 2021 World Championship, they had both already pre-qualified for multiple World Championships before, but there was still that big question as to which team was going to come out ahead, which one was going to move forward, swinging hard and fast. And it turned out that Vatang, despite their extraordinary successes, were defeated in a very dominating, in fact, 15-star showing from Tribe back in a meta game when defenses were much stronger than they are today. It was an extraordinary trouncing that Tribe actually carried on to the position where they're at right now. Their success over Vatang in 2021 catapulted them into an extraordinarily strong reputation in Clash of Clans esports overall. And it's so important now that Vatang has this opportunity to try to come back from behind, to strike at Tribe, and to try to deny them that golden ticket opportunity. Judo.
Yes, indeed, and I guess we will find out exactly now. It is Tribe that is attacking first, though. Rakirez with the Electro Dragons. You've seen the giant arrow flying right across the base there initially. Pretty much all of the dragons down. He has a baby dragon left to just help to funnel things towards the core, but so far, just making sure to get everything deployed so he can have as fast attack as possible.
Electro Dragons get superb value when they can get that chain lightning to strike against multiple different buildings, and although the core is very spread out, the edges of this base do offer a lot of value for them. If he can take down this Town Hall with the Electro Dragons that are locked onto the Town Hall right now, and he's dropping lots of freezes to make sure that happens, he should be able to get a lightning fast finish for the rest of this base. Rakirez now at that 50-second mark knows that he only has about 20 or 30 seconds to close out the rest of this base if he wants to get a solid start for Tribe.
Exactly. We've seen the attacks around about 1 minute 20 being the absolute maximum you would want to go. Anything over that, and you are definitely behind the current state. 1 minute and 10 right now as the Royal Champion gets up to that final Inferno Tower, and it will be a 1 minute and 14 second 3-star attack. Rakirez doesn't look overly happy with that, because obviously they want to try and get that momentum out of the gates.
It's a nice start for Tribe Gaming, though. 1 minute and 14 is just about on par with the other two teams that have already scored wins this month, but 114 does not give them so much of a lead that it would put very much pressure on Vatang, who now really just have to put up a solid performance of their own to go toe-to-toe against their foes. Yule will be the next to attack with Kronos on defense, and we're looking for something shorter than that 1 minute and 14 second time to give Vatang the early lead to gain that confidence at taking out a tough opponent like Tribe Gaming. Still, Tribe have already fought today, and that might be considered a disadvantage because they've had to show bases, because they've already had the stress of one previous war, but it might also be considered an advantage. They're warmed up a little bit. They've had one match already. They took a win, and so that could give them the momentum. Do you think that that is going to factor at all into this match?
I would personally rather have a match under my belt that I've won, especially since Vatang qualified all the way back in April. So they don't have as much qualifier experience, if you will, in recent times. But you notice the Electro Dragons immediately caught trying to take out the Clan Castle troops. Fortunately, they do split back across to where he wants, but he needs a couple of them to move into the center of the base there in order to get the multi-inferno. There they go, with the Royal Champion moving in now as well.
Big, heavy black air bomb strikes those Electro Dragons multiple times in the core of the space, with more red bombs going off as well. The Town Hall is now activated, and it's burning apart those Valkyries who aren't able to finish the job. Electro Dragons move in for the final strike at that base, and it's a lot of overkill with that mega Inferno bomb exploding right on them. The Electro Dragons are going down, but he should still have enough support from these heroes to knock out through the 3-star. How much time will it take him? He's right at that minute and 14-second mark. Did he get it in a minute and 13, Judo?
I think he did. It was just about to switch, but maybe not. 1 minute 14 it is then, based on the graphics. So, wow. I mean, we want the close and exciting matches. That's what we've had so far today, and I guess it doesn't get much closer than this. You couldn't write it. First 2 attacks, 1 minute and 14. Ball is back in Tribe Gaming's court.
No advantage for either team yet on the scoreboard, and so I gotta say, I think that still tips in favor of Vatang. Although they didn't have as much experience in the middle of this year, and Tribe has been fighting as hard as they can, Tribe has not scored that golden ticket yet, while Vatang have had the opportunity to conceal their hand, to act as the spy, to sit in waiting in the bushes, ready to ambush Tribe Gaming in the last attacking position of this war. That puts a lot of pressure on Tribe, just as it did in the previous war, to put up 3 stars in record time. They cannot miss, and they have to have everything go in their favor. Exosys, the next to attack, is sending in an early strike with Archer Queen in this bottom compartment, firing across the base and catching a big Tesla farm over on the left corner. Pretty good news for these Root Riders, who won't have to worry about those defenses surprising them later on.
Yeah, just able to power through that straight away, and it's all about just making sure he has the good splits here in order to take down the different areas of the base effectively. So you notice the Royal Champion across to the left-hand side, just splitting apart those compartments alongside the wizards from the siege barracks, and everything just trying to work in unison. I'm excited to see where he puts this Electro Dragon. There it is for the east side of the base to try and chain through that area and get it down.
In unison, so well said. This is like a symphonic performance from Exosys, doing everything he can to make sure that the timing lines up perfectly and that every member of this chamber orchestra can perform their part. The P.E.K.K.A. chopping away at the Town Hall now should be enough to deliver that 2nd star, as the closeout cleanup for this base does it. Exosys pumping his fist with record showing on time will advance higher and above Vatang's time. Tribe Gaming now with a 1 minute and 11-second overall finish, thanks to Exosys' superb 3-star strike at only 69 seconds. Nice job, Exosys.
Nice indeed. 5 seconds faster than the previous attacks, which in the current meta is a big deal. That's why he was celebrating in true Exosys fashion. And I personally just love seeing the spiky ball blasting through the buildings at the end in order to clean things up. But Vatang ready to pounce again. And you made an interesting point before that attack from Exosys, Woody, in that Vatang claimed the silver ticket themselves a little bit easier through the qualifier. Tribe have tried time and time again, so their confidence might have been knocked, but maybe that first matchup has helped them.
Key battles from Vatang. The next to march into this competition is bringing 8 Valkyries to support these Root Riders. A little bit of spread for them on that top compartment. No jump spells, so they are going to have to rely on those Root Riders to crack open these compartments ahead of them and get easy access to these huge compartments in the base. Root Riders do open up for that scatter shot on the top right side, but the Valkyries are going to be going toward the left instead, supporting the Barbarian King and the Royal Champion over there in that top compartment. Archer Queen, meanwhile, on the bottom side is doing some additional funneling work as the Root Riders have all stayed clumped up along the top right side of this base. Overgrowth spell does go down to the Town Hall, and those Valks are doing everything they can to take out this monolith before it becomes a problem for those two heroes topside. Judo.
Yeah, he's really used the skeleton spells well to counteract those heavy-hitting defenses. But as you notice, as you said, the king is kind of tanking a little bit, but getting stuck on every single one of the walls. And at this point, Exorcist was finishing off the attack, so there's the spiky ball to try and speed things up. You see it in his face. It actually ended up being a 1-minute 15 attack, I think, but that means now they are 6 seconds behind the time of Tribe Gaming, or 1:14, so 5 seconds behind.
That is still extremely close, and Vatang can be happy with Kibaros's performance. Although that didn't give them the lead, they are still showing up on par with the attacks that most other winning teams have been able to put up so far. Now they have the advantage of sitting back and watching Kronos move in next, but Kronos is not the sort of player you'd expect to take his foot off the gas pedal. This is another super strong attacker who will waste no seconds at all to deliver Tribe the goods and get that victory that they have so long sought. Can he give us another 70-second hit and push this lead even further? That is what we want to see going into the mid-war. For a team that has to attack first, they want to develop a big time gap to put major pressure on the defensive team to try to have to come from back behind. Archer Queen pops an early ability and will get an Angry Jelly as well. The focus on defenses early on. Both of those heroes are going to be coming in on the bottom side, the Grand Warden and the Barbarian King, to smash through more defenses. Royal Champion still waiting in the wings for an opportunity to hit that top right side of the base as the Siege Barracks as well is getting some excellent funneling done. And it is record fast spell deployment in the core with an Eternal Tome pop to protect a massive clump of troops, Judo.
Yeah, opting for the Root Riders this time, Kronos, which is, I would say, a little bit more of a consistent, fast strategy at the moment, but all of the troops getting caught a little bit due to that poison spell in the middle. Overgrowth nicely gets the Town Hall and a couple of the other defenses at the opposite side of that. And now you see everything trying to just wrap around either side of the Town Hall and will just collapse at the end with the hero abilities. Still looking okay here, but we'll have to see exactly how quick he can get the percentage up before he uses the spiky ball. There it goes.
And he's pumping his fist. Kronos is thrilled to see another lightning fast 3-star secured for Tribe Gaming, even reducing the average time for his team with a 67-second shot. Kronos, true to his name, is a titan. And also, if you were to interpret his name slightly differently, time is on his side as the chronograph ticks only to 67 seconds. It's even more pressure for Vatang to seek out an opportunity to narrow that gap some. Frosty has got to be the man to do it, because with him in the mid-war now, still behind Tribe, he knows that he can't rely on all three of these next attacks coming in very quick. He needs to get a 1-minute attack in here to get things evened up against Tribe now. Judo.
He certainly does. Another one of the new members of Vatang. Now, he has missed both of the sweepers there with the giant arrows, so we'll have to see exactly whether he decides to invest any of his spells for that backside sweeper. Nice spread on the dragons moving into the base. Opts for the stone slammer here, not the battle blimp moving through to the town hall, which sometimes we see overgrowths that area instead, because as you noticed at the start, he did have that spiky ball on the king to try and speed things up.
Time is of the essence for Frosty, who's firing off free spells to try to shut down these defenses and keep these dragons safe, with rocket loons still hovering over and dropping as many bombs as they can. That is a big base carved up in record time, but can he close out with the cleanup to get that time solidified? He's 1 minute in and 15% of his base remains. He's got a Tesla farm over in the right corner to knock apart and no hero abilities left to chew through it quickly. He has to rely on these dragons and the king on the back end to march past. This is not going to be the time that Vatang were looking for, as Tribe's lead will hold on, Judo.
Absolutely. As the skeletons were popping, I was thinking there's got to be even more skeleton traps over there, and there was, just to drag the time down that little bit more. So Tribe Gaming extending their lead at this point, but obviously we know what happened in Tribe Gaming's first matchup where they were the team falling behind. So at this point, they are in the driving seat. They have to continue getting those 3 stars, Woody.
They do indeed, and Vatang have got to be very worried now about this time differential. Tribe Gaming moving ahead with every step of the way, gaining a larger and larger advantage. This is not one of those sorts of wars where we see a big swing happen because of one member just really showing everything they've gotten and delivering the exact opportune moment. It's really just kind of been a stepwise fashion with Tribe every step of the way coming in a few seconds ahead. I think that is really going to be a tough end war now for Vatang, with only 2 attacks left for either team to try to close such an insurmountable gap. Tribe really seems to be strongly favored in this one at this point.
Yeah, and I think this is where what we spoke of earlier in that of experience comes in. It's when you're behind in a match, when there's not really many attacks left to go, that's when you really need your experienced players to step up, not make those mistakes. So it'll be interesting to see whether Vatang are able to continue with that, but likely Tribe Gaming as well. We know how much experience both of these teams have, and with it being the last chance, there really is just that little bit extra pressure on them.
Well, this is a tough war for Vatang so far, but at least they get a little bit of a breather as Nebrax, the next attacker for Tribe Gaming, has the opportunity to show what he has got. 8 dragons, 2 baby dragons, 9 balloons in the skies, and a stone slammer as well to complement this big, heavy aerial assault. He's got Frosty on the king, another unusual pick, but it can certainly get value. Baby dragons spread out to maximize their DPS as well. They want to stay far away from any other air troops. Stone Slammer on the bottom left side as well, and this is going to be a massive smash. The top left line of this base, it is crumbling under Nebrax's power, who has just dumped everything to get massive value early on. That would leave a little bit of concern for the cleanup at the end, as he's spent now every hero ability except for the Royal Champions in the first 35 seconds, Judo.
Yes, but the Barbarian King did get a bit caught down to the bottom of the base with the defending Tesla farm and the skeleton traps. Ended up having to use the spiky ball to get through the air defense there. That's now caused a bit of stalling around the 6 o'clock area, whilst the air defense at the top just about gets that dragon before the Archer Queen gets there. All this means is that time is ticking.
Wow.
I don't think that's quite as fast as he wanted.
I mean, he might have lost a few seconds here and there, but coming right in at that 70, maybe 5-second mark, I think that Nebrax had just enough room to be happy with this finish. Tribe are slipping just slightly closer to where Vatang's time are at, with an average time now of 1 minute and 11 seconds. But there's only one more attack from Tribe in this entire war. How much time can they lose on one single attack? The pressure really is on Vatang now to try to overcome the standard that Tribe has set for them. It is a high bar, and yet we have seen players vault this sort of difference before. Will it be DP, the hero of Vatang, to come through now in this 4th position with a lightning fast strike against Yo-Yo's base?
Pressure is certainly on Vatang, like you said, but they don't want to add extra pressure on themselves necessarily. So Nebrax there, just keeping it exciting for us, I guess. But we have a rocket balloon attack here from DP. Fantastic. I mean, they are quick.
I love it.
Not too traditional. Let's see what
love
happens.
it.
A fireball as well. Fantastic.
Only had to use 2 invisibilities to set up for that early giant fireball drop. And although he has lost his Grand Warden, he has done massive damage to the bottom left side of the base. This is likely going to either be a record fast 3-star to put Vatang back in contention, or the potential miss would result in a 2-star that would end it all. DP is making no mistakes so far, but he's got to be very careful about how the middle of this attack shapes up with the CC popping out and lots of archers and ice golems. That is going to be slowing him down a little bit, Judo.
Yeah, he missed the sweeper with the giant arrow, and then the Yetis did take out the middle section of the base. He's managed to, you know, adjust things and get that town hall down relatively okay to the left side of the base. But the main concern here is his running out of balloons for the back side of the base, where there is still 2 air defense and the single target Inferno. And right now, I guess he's just trying to get percentage. It's really difficult to see a way back from this. He's got an invisibility spell he might be able to just use.
He should have invised both the queen and the healers if you wanted to keep them safe. Although the rocket loons are going to make it safely to the scatter shot, so maybe that was planned? The queen does survive that encounter, and I think it's going to be a 3-star after all, but not the quick one that we were hoping for. Can the queen just chew through this cannon quick enough? Yes. It is a 3-star by the skin of his teeth, and DP, seeking a record fast finish, actually did not manage to thread the needle, but did keep the 3-star a possible for Vatang. I mean, I'm almost at a loss for words here because it's quite unusual to see such a long attack time for rocket loons. They either often will get a 60-second 3-star or miss entirely. DP has shown that even when things go wrong, though, he can still salvage the triple. But this lead now is just even bigger for Tribe Gaming, and Yo-Yo 23, a Laloon master, although he probably won't get to bring in Laloon for this next hit, is still expected to deliver a record fast finish for Tribe Gaming and make things very difficult for Vatang's last hit.
Absolutely. Let's see, you know, as Itsu mentioned in that first matchup, I don't think they had time to adjust the plan at all. And that's what ended up, you know, backfiring and resulting in the fail, if you will. So let's see whether Yo-Yo's plan will indeed just get it to work. He's got a comfortable cushion now when it comes to attack time. Root Riders moving in from that left-hand side. Everything looking, you know, pretty standard so far in terms of that quick spell deployment, but making sure everything is placed well. And at the moment, looking fairly good, but he just has to, you know, continue throughout the attack, I guess, Woody.
Well, we saw previously that Pulse Gaming had not only a time lead, but a percentage lead, and they still missed with their last attack. So I will take nothing for granted here from Yo-Yo. Fortunately for him, he does collapse in on that monolith relatively early and takes that down. A big key defense has now been eliminated, as the rest of the troops should be able to collapse along the bottom side of the space. He does intend to leave the town hall until the very end of this attack, and that, oh, no, actually they're going to path backwards toward the town hall, taking that down and still leaving lots of spell capacity to finish this base off. Yo-Yo has got exactly what he needs, and although it wasn't the quickest attack from Tribe, it should be fast enough to secure the win at 1 minute and 14, maybe even 15 seconds. Yo-Yo 23 has delivered the goods and sent Tribe with a perfect war and 1 minute and 12-second average into their last defense against Vatang.
Fantastic attack there. Just making sure to have that spiky ball ready at the last moment. I guess unless Vatang got like a 20-second 3-star, then you're right. Tribe Gaming are indeed moving forward. A brilliant performance there, and a lot more comfortable than the first match, you could say. Just, you could see they were very confident, done what they needed to do. And Vatang we will be seeing later today in the lower bracket matchup anyways. But let's see how they can close out here, because even when they did get their silver ticket, they had some impressive showings. There was only one match where they didn't get the 15-star perfect war, which was versus Synchronic in the, you know, the finals. So I'm more than confident with Lancelotta's experience here.
Lancelotta is a veteran of the World Championship from 2019, 2020, and 2021 with 3 Worlds showings. He is certainly a super strong player, but I do not think that there is anything that he can do with a time advantage so far tilted in Tribe's favor to make this comeback happen. Still expect a perfect war from Vatang, and as you mentioned, we will see them in the lower bracket of the matches later today, still fighting forward to try to stay alive and contend for this last golden ticket. But the day belongs to Tribe Gaming, victorious twice already today, and with a win again against Vatang, proving that they deserve their spot in this last chance qualifier and perhaps even a golden ticket.
Indeed, but just taking notice back to this attack again, Landslaughter very nicely collapsing everything towards the center of the base there to finish things off. A comfortable 3-star. As we mentioned, obviously not able to get a 32-second attack is what they would have needed. So Tribe Gaming are victorious. And I think it really just showed how consistent they were as a team getting those faster attacks. But then, you know, the attack from Vatang that ended up costing them quite a bit despite getting the 3-star. I thought it was really difficult to predict in the end, actually. I thought it was going to be a defense, but it can show how one massive attack like that can really draw your average out. So I'm sure Vatang will be paying attention to that for their lower bracket matchup later today.
Well, I'm very well aware that they've been watching other teams as well. They have their eye on which strategies are able to produce a turnaround victory. When you're behind on time, you really need a record fast attack, and they've seen plenty of players put up sub 1 minute hits with Rocket Loons. It's a very risky strategy and requires perfect execution, and it even requires a really good base identification by the attacker to even know if it's possible to pull off to begin with. They did find a 3-star with the Rocket Loon strike, but not enough of a time pickup to make this a competitive war in the end. Vatang have done admirable, and this indeed is our first perfect v perfect war of the day. And yet Tribe are tilted out in the win column because of their fast performances throughout the early stage of this war, with even a sub 1 minute strike. Tribe certainly, if there was any question out of their first war, if they were going to be doing well this week, we can see out of their second war today that they have hit their stride and are a solid contender for that golden ticket.
Yes, they've won 2. They just need to win 2 more and they would get that. But it's interesting to see that Tribe have already played 2 matches versus we still have other teams such as HTM that are attacking next in the bracket who haven't even played yet today. But looking at the match results from the last attack, like you said, it's our first 15 versus 15 perfect war today, and I think that deserves credit for either one of the teams. Really just was that attack from DP that stands out as drawing the attack time down over for Vatang.
Well, it was an extraordinary finish for Tribe Gaming. We saw them performing very, very well and even putting up even quicker attacks through the mid-war. But the MVP overall is Kronos, with 30% of the vote out there among the fans in the audience. And honorable mentions as well to Yo-Yo23 with 18% and Exosys taking home 15% of the MVP vote.
Yes, Kronos putting his foot on the gas, as you were putting it, from the first match, really picking up the pace and getting the fastest attack in the second match, which we know he is more than capable of doing. As I said, he got the fastest attack in the entire tournament of the Snapdragon Pro Series, which is where Tribe Gaming got their silver ticket. But I think they just need to refocus now for tomorrow. That's Tribe Gaming's match is done for today. But I'm interested to hear Itsu's thoughts following that matchup as well. Welcome back, my friend.
And I feel like what Tribe did is they kept their average attacks. So they kept their average attacks, which means around the 1 minute 13, around the 1 minute 14 second attacks. And then they had like 2 standout attacks, which were like below this mark by quite a bit, which then meant that things look really, really great for them within that match. And if they can keep that consistency within that match for the next matches, I think it looks great for them. But Vatang now in the lower bracket, that will be quite interesting. And I think that next match on our menu will be even more crazy, because based on a lot of opinions out there from the community as well from us casters, I think we might see an early finals from this qualifier, because we see two favorites going head to head, Woody.
Yeah, there's a great opportunity now for Tribe already in the upper bracket final to face off against the reigning world champions HTM Brazil to contend for that final golden ticket. Expect to see this next war set the stage for some extraordinary fireworks tomorrow. And yet we already know that there's an interesting storyline shaping up on the bottom side of this bracket, with teams that have competed and even earned tickets by their performance in the lower bracket. There's the possibility still of any team to take the win at the end of day tomorrow. And with a 15-star showing from Vatang, they are in fact the only team in the lower bracket right now that has had a perfect war already. It'll be interesting to see how HTM Brazil shows up against Momentum Esports in this next war, because with HTM not yet holding a golden ticket, they've kind of been in the same rut that Tribe Gaming have been in so far this year, not yet able to power through to the end with that impressive, overwhelming performance that we know they're capable of.
Indeed, and if HTM Esports were to progress, you know, we have that almost grudge match, if you will, between Tribe and them. The previous World Championships from last year, Clash Champs, it is their new name, HTM Esports. But moving to the predictions for this next match, because one at a time, Momentum Shifters versus HTM. You went with Momentum Shifters, Itsu. What was your thought process there?
I mean, as I said, like, to me, this could be the possible finals. I wouldn't be surprised to see a rematch in the finals between those two teams. It will be really close, but to me, as I said earlier, Momentum Shifters is just so consistent in the last couple of weeks, and on such a high form as well. They're really solid with their defense and everything, and we've as well seen, I think, the fastest attack of the day from Momentum Shifters from Leo, if I remember correctly. So they're just looking really good today, and HTM on the other side is looking really good as well, but it's just this maybe 1% advantage which I would give the Momentum Shifters for this match, but overall really close. Woody, you're going with the other side. What was your reasoning for that?
Yeah, you know, I actually misinterpreted what you said early on when you said that you thought that this could be an early finals match in the making. I thought you were referring to HTM Brazil going up against Tribe Gaming in the upper bracket finals, but you're actually talking about this very next match with the Momentum Shifters. I think that HTM Brazil are maybe not an obvious pick, but definitely a favorite in this next match. As the reigning world champions, they may not have had as much strength earlier on this year, but it's hard for me to make a really strong case for Momentum Shifters, a team that has performed well so far today, but had a really close war against Dizi Esports. And I think are going to struggle against the Brazilian Barbarians. The reigning world champs have just got so much oomph on their side. As a team that qualified earlier this year, we also saw on the top side of this bracket, even though Vatang faltered, they had the preferential placement, sitting and waiting and watching against their opponents to see what they were going to be going up against. So especially the fact that HTM Brazil attacking second will get a chance to respond to Momentum Shifters. I think this is going to be a little bit more tilted in HTM's favor than a lot of people may be giving them credit for. But we'll see. I mean, Spray has done an extraordinary job in that last round. Leo is one of the quickest attacks, if not the quickest attacks overall today. But will those two players be enough to deliver them the win, Judo?
Well, I guess time will tell, as you said, because, you know, I feel like we're really nitpicking when we're choosing between these teams because they are so evenly matched. Myself, I went with HTM because this is kind of the situation we were in last year for the Last Chance Qualifiers as well. As you can see from the lineup, this was Clash Champs last year, who ended up going on to win the World Championships. And I famously said towards the end that I was 100% sure they were going to win the match and get the golden ticket. And, you know, they ended up losing the first match, but coming back and doing that. So I guess I just can't go against them again this year. That's my reasoning anyway, too.
So you're saying you're going again for the
Jinxing them
jinx
again.
there. Yeah, okay. I see what you did there. No, but I think this match in general is going to be a really, really nice one. It would be a close one, as we have already seen a lot of close matches coming down to the last second, coming down to the last bidding, and that will be hopefully exactly the same thing with this one, as both teams have performed really good. HTM is the fan favorite. That is not surprising. The Brazilian fans are like, there's a lot of Brazilian fans out there, so I'm not surprised by this voting, to be honest. Are you, Woody?
Yeah, I mean, I really love Momentum Shifters. I think they're a stellar team. I think that they deserve their spot in the Last Chance Qualifier. But I really would have expected that HTM Brazil, as the reigning world champions with multiple victories over super competitive events, would be favored. This is a team that has been fighting for years together under different banners, now HTM Brazil, but previously Clash Champs. You know, they've got so many years of experience fighting together as INTZ before that, and having picked up victories in multiple tournaments under previous, I mean, I could just rattle off their wins. The Clash of Clans World Championship last year, but also Torneo de la Fueza. They had a win as well in the NTN Goated Series. They won the Suzy Cup last year. They won Glaseo Cup. They won the Monster Hispanic League Kraken Division last year. What have they won this year? They also picked up a victory in the American Clash League, Liberty Bowl. This is a team that takes wins. Whereas on the other side, the only wins the Momentum Shifters have in their name are the Snapdragon Pro Series Cup number 4, that was a qualifier cup, and the Platinum Invitational Cup. That's only 2 events matched up against a team that has got like too many to count on one or even 2 hands. So I think that in terms of experience, there's no doubt HTM Brazil is the favorite. In terms of momentum, though, it still is an open question. I've seen superb work so far this year, and I know we're going to have a great match either way, Judo.
Absolutely, and I'm going to have the privilege of being able to sit back and watch. So I wish you two the very best in casting, and have a good time.
Yeah, and we're going to load into this match in just a second. And, well, with Woody going with HTM, I'm going with Momentum Shifters. This will be a really, really intense match. I'm hoping for a lot of close attacks. As usual, Spray is starting things off for Momentum Shifters to make sure that, well, they're hopefully looking good with their first attack. But this is the thing. The first 1 to 2 attacks, so many times those first initial attacks of those match are setting up the match for the team, or setting up the pace of the match itself. And the question now is, can Spray deliver within his first attack?
This is also an extraordinarily interesting match because we know that one way or another, a Leo will be moving on. There's a Leo on both the Momentum Shifters, and there's a Leo defending in this first round for HTM Esports. So just keep an eye out for that fact. There are 2 different Leos in this war, so we'll do our best to differentiate that by mentioning them by their team names as well. But it's an early strike from Spray, sending in Super Dragons against a base with an early tap against the Town Hall and the Monolith. Lots of air bombs going off against the balloons. I went for that Monolith though, and it does not go down early on, relying on additional damage from the Super Dragons to take it out. They will finish off the Royal Champion as well, and to collapse onto the top side of this base, where we see a single target Inferno starting to heat up a dragon that is creeping along the edge. Spray doing everything he can to leave that core compartment in the middle for the last leg of this offense. And there's a lot of big defenses there that he's going to have to deal with into 2 scatter shots and multi-target archer towers.
Yeah, and take a look at the spiky ball. This is the counter people are going for. Triple earthquake into the spiky ball, takes down those key defenses inside the core of the base. This is like the counter which has developed over time to make sure those rage towers in the core are not as deadly. He's still waiting with the spiky ball. He wants to take down the air defense first, then use the spiky ball, and there we go. Nice. Defenses are going down. The core is gone. 2 buildings are only left, but they're not that easy to be reached. The Queen's going for a wall instead, and this means a couple of important seconds are left on the table. I think 1 minute 21 seconds or something I have seen, which is not the 22 seconds actually, which is not the fast attack they were hoping for. And now the question is, how does HTM respond to this first strike of Momentum Shifters?
It is going to be a big opportunity now for HTM Esports as Achilles, the next to attack, knows that he wants to not just start off strong, but start off fast with a lead for his team. If he can put up something in the 85-second range, I guess he would still be behind Momentum Shifter. So he's looking for something more closer to 75 seconds. And wow, he is wasting no time. Already fires a giant arrow off in the base and rages up the Queen to get some early damage with support on balloons as well. Trying to take down a multi-archer tower early on. The Grand Warden's been dropped on the bottom side to get the pull from the CC as those Root Riders edge closer. It's Ice Golems to try to slow them down as the Siege Barracks on the left side will get even more funneling work done. Itsu.
Yeah, you had to invest the freeze to make sure the Headhunters are not slowing down the Queen too much or even forcing her death on the right side. But we have the overgrowth now quite early onto the Town Hall to make sure that later on there is no time wasted for him to get through all of those defenses. The Queen has to stay alive though for the damage. He's even wall breaking her into the next compartment, which looks amazing. The core is looking really, really strong from him, and he should finish off this base strong with the overgrowth. Should running out any second now, and yes, indeed, the timing is just perfect.
Oh my god, I love this attack from Achilles. He even managed to draw the fire from the scatter shot, soaking shots with the Queen while she was getting healed. There was no splash damage at all from that right side scatter shot. Just perfect heads up play from Achilles, shaping up this base. And I gotta say, I was a little bit worried at the outset. He made a really risky deploy early on multiple different fronts, but had exactly what he needed in terms of tanking to be able to keep safe his big damage dealers on the back end to ensure that every single line was crushed. A 63-second strike from HTM Esports is a massive 19-second advantage for our defending world champions.
That's right, they're looking really strong after the first attack, but we have seen many comebacks already just today and switches when it comes down to leads within those matches. Imran is going to be the next attacker for MO Shifters, and he has to make sure that he is catching up with the time. He needs to make sure that they're getting a lightning fast 3-star in to make sure they're staying close to HTM, because we have said it earlier, the early attacks in those matches are just so important to set things off, to set the pace, set the tone of those matches for your team. And he is going in with the dragons as well, with the giant arrow most likely for this Archer Queen. And there we go, getting one of those sweepers nice and early.
Coconut Loon seeks a black bomb, doesn't find one in the right corner, but does protect the Electro Dragon to get some good funneling work done, as the main army is going to be dragons spread out along the top right line of this base, hoping that that Grand Warden will collapse a little bit closer to the 3 that are currently straying closer to the Eagle Artillery, but Stone Slammer as well will crush that top corner compartment, and Imran is already on a great start for this base, drops the overgrowth as soon as that Monolith was starting to chip away at the Queen, and with a Dragon locked onto the scatter shot, should be able to take that down for an impressive beginning for this hit. Imran is sure to close out for a 3-star. It's just a question of how quickly can he finish off the core.
The Ice Golems, though, are getting lured. That's always something which can result in some time, or like more seconds, which would be important. Now everything is waking up again. There goes the rage. There goes the earthquake with the spiky ball to deal the damage. There goes another freeze, but the town hall has to go down. The Queen shooting for a wall. The dragons are now coming in. The Royal Champion going down, but the last Inferno Tower staying up for a couple of more seconds, and this can be the deciding factor with, again, an attack which is around about 1 minute 20 seconds. I think this one 1 minute 18, which is getting their average to 1 minute 20 in total. On the other side, HTM already starting with their first attack around the 60 seconds. This looks really good for them. If they can follow up with another quick attack, they're looking so good within this match.
It is a tough follow-up for the Momentum Shifters, who have a very bleak beginning. Now at an average of 17 seconds behind what HTM Esports gave out of their first performance. But can HTM's Leo keep the pace against Momentum Shifters' Leo? It is a high Highlander match. There can be only one Leo. Who will be moving on? Is it Leo from HTM Esports on offense? Now dropping his queen with some balloons out in front to protect the healers, firing a giant arrow through the base and setting up for those Root Riders on top. Or is it going to be on defense, the Leo from Momentum Shifters seeking to deny even a few seconds from this lightning fast striker of HTM Esports?
Yeah, and something which HTM has now done multiple times is using an early rage for this queen, isolated, taking down some key defenses with her healers. The Town Hall is just getting ignored, just pushing through with the equipments, making sure the Town Hall Poise is not as annoying as we might think. But the back end is looking strong, especially now with that overgrowth waking up again. And there is an earthquake boot making sure that this entire compartment is open and available for the queen.
Taking down those two ice golems and now popping that royal champion ability, gets a lot more hogs out into the action to tear apart the core of this base. It's now eliminated and past the 2-minute mark. Leo is doing everything he can to collapse along the last side. Drops his last two super barbarians and he is in it to win it. A 1 minute and 12 second strike from Leo brings another quick end to Momentum Shifters base. That is going to be an appreciable lead for HTM Brazil in the early war, but not too much for Momentum Shifters, a team that is known to turn things around in the mid-war, to come from behind. Remember, Momentum Shifters Leo had a sub 1 minute attack in their previous round. Can he do the same to even the score against HTM?
Yeah, and that's exactly the player who is up next for Momentum Shifters. He has to get an incredible quick attack in to make sure that the difference between those two teams is getting smaller and smaller, because right now HTM has everything in their hands. He is running the Root Rider with the Valkyries as well. He's trying to deploy everything as quickly as possible in the beginning, starting with the King, starting with that Siege Barrack. And there goes that giant arrow to set up the pathing for his troops into that first compartment with the bomb tower. Rage is right there, but the King is struggling a little bit.
He is a lot of damage stacked onto him. That Monolith getting an early activation and tapping him down to about a quarter of his hit points. Still, he gets support from the Siege Barracks over on the right side with those Wizards tipping away at the multi-archer tower. Now in the core of the base, it's going to be Ice Golems putting the freeze on Leo's troops and slowing them down as that multi-inferno tower has just burnt a big hole in his army. Still, he's on the offense, marching toward the left corner of the base where that overgrowth has shut down the Town Hall, but it now wears off. I think he might have dropped that overgrowth very aggressively, but he does get ideal timing on the back end to close out that second star. About to pass the 1 minute mark now. Itsu, how quickly can he finish off this base? Is there anything he's got to be keeping his eye out for?
I mean, the Royal Champion is really low. She has not much protection, but currently the King is tanking that scatter. It's going to be a 3-star, but it's going to be again around the 1 minute and 20-second mark, if that's even enough. The super minions are clearing out the last defense, and yes, indeed, it's going to be 1 minute 21 seconds. It feels like those bases of HTM, they're really giving Momentum Shifters some problems when it comes down to the time. They're just not quick enough to keep up with the incredible attacks of HTM, and HTM is up next, which means they can set up an even faster average time with their next attacker.
That is really tough news from the Momentum Shifters, a squad that has relied so often on the mid-war to be an opportunity to turn things around. In fact, the average time is now increased for the Momentum Shifters, just north of that 1 minute and 20-second mark. It is still a lead for HTM Esports, and Celino is not going to be one to give it up easily. A big boss Haas ready to drop a massive strike on this base with 20 super barbarians and an impressive complement of Root Riders and Valkyries to back them up. Siege Barracks in the top corner to get some great funneling work done as a massive giant arrow cuts through the top lane of this base and sets up for those Root Riders, now supported by the Grand Warden in the top left side. He's holding on to a couple of headhunters to snipe down the enemy King and Royal Champion. Can he get the perfect deploy on them and protect them from the massive damage that's going to start stacking up with a Town Hall and a Monolith on the interior of this base?
Yeah, that's the big question with those backhand defenses, but another big problem is that he has already lost the Royal Gem ability, which means there are no more Hogs to reinforce. He has to invest now a lot of spells, but that Royal Champion struggling quite a little bit. The King at the bottom side uses now the ability, but all of those ball strikes are going to the outside. None of the defense are getting hit. The Royal Champ going down to the single Inferno Tower. Wait a second, the Thanos has to go down, and he is already at the 1 minute mark.
This is a really scary follow-up from Selinho. He took a massive risk in still trying to keep the time so tilted in HTM's favor. Is it going to pay off for him? The Queen will be able to take out the Town Hall. The rest of the troops are collapsing over on the right side. Balloon finishes off that Wizard Tower, and a huge army is going to be able to knock apart this single Inferno. Just not enough splash damage to deal with this assault brought by Selinho. And yet the time was very, very difficult for HTM Esports. Seeing their beautiful 1 minute and 7 seconds increase now to 1 minute and 13. Selinho delivering the slowest attack, not just for his team, but of the war so far at 124. That was a tough follow-up, and the momentum shifters can at least breathe a sigh of relief. They may not be ahead, but this is still with a possibility for them to come from behind in the late war, Itsu.
Yeah, the comeback is for sure possible, but it won't be easy. This lead HTM had in the early stages is just really, really a lot. And now Sean has to make sure that he can somehow catch this up and somehow get an incredible fast attack. We're speaking like about something like 60 seconds. That's what they need currently to make sure that those two teams are staying close, and he has to deliver exactly that. What is he going with? Dragons or Root Riders? This feels to be like those two strategies are just dominating currently so much, and it's going to be with those Root Riders. He's bringing a jump. The overgrowth is in there as always, and he's setting up the pathing for those Root Riders with the giant arrow to make sure that they can path right into those double merged outer towers and then into the core of this base.
We asked all the players how long they've been playing Clash, and most of them just gave us a year or told us how long. But Sean really put it in perspective. He said he's been playing since first grade. This is an element as much of his blood as the ABCs themselves, and Sean knows that Clash is his biggest opportunity to burst onto the world stage, with an opportunity now to find another 3-star and give the momentum shifters a lifeline going into the late war. He finds his way into the core of the base, and with the overgrowth soon to wear off, he'll need to take down this Town Hall very quickly. That's going to be a lot of damage that could be caused on his back-end troops. Cleanup needs to be as quick as possible, and still with that 1 minute mark, Sean is going to reduce the overall attack time for momentum shifters. Will it be enough?
That was just insane. The way on how he kept his Queen alive was mind-blowing. The Queen was like on 0% hit points during most of the attack. The freeze last second, the reinforcement of those Super Barbarians to make sure the Inferno Tower is tanked. Everything perfect, and making sure that he's having a quick attack for his team. 1 minute 8 seconds is decreasing their average time for sure. And if they now get a somewhat good defense when it comes down to the average time, they are not looking that bad in this match. But first off, Pato has the chance of pushing this match in either direction. Full control for HTM, or everything is open again. That's the question now, and he is going in with the Root Riders as well, with the, I would say, classic equipments which we see right now with this army composition.
Momentum shifters found a great defense against Selinho and pulled back for a big turnaround with Sean's rapid showing. But Pato has the opportunity now to make this even more convincingly an HTM lead going into the late war. Catches a Tesla farm on the right corner with this Archer Queen and will take that down with little difficulty. Does have to commit a rage spell and a freeze to keep her safe, but there's no question that she'll be able to continue her walk around this base. Meanwhile, it's going to be an overgrowth onto the Eagle Artillery and the central Inferno Tower in there. He does catch the CC troops coming out as well, and it looks like he's going to be following up along the top side of the space with even more funneling work to be done on the bottom now as Super Barbarians crash along to support that siege barracks, Itsu.
Yeah, it feels like that overall this approach with the Queen was baited from momentum shifters, because I think we have seen pretty much every single possible black mine in that location. And we can tell already as well with the troops slowly going down. There's not many troops left in this one. King ability, yes, is still there. It should be still a 3-star, but I think time was not as quick, I would say, compared to the other attacks of HTM. The Eagle is going down, which means 1 minute and 17 seconds. And this is pushing those two teams closer and closer. 1 minute 17 to 1 minute 14 on average. We have had like a 20-second difference in the beginning, and this is now going down to overall only a few seconds.
That is so terrifyingly close for the 5th round of attackers. And yet you really need an appreciable lead if you are first to attack. Ziken knows that he is not only not in the lead, but he's behind by an average of 3 seconds on every previous round of attacks. If you want to make up a 3-second difference on 4 hits, I mean, multiply that by 4, that's a 12-second differential on top of the really already quick 1:17 hit that they've done. So expect a 65-second attack from Ziken to be what we need to see here in order to put the momentum shifters back in the lead.
Yeah, they still need a really, really quick attack, and they're starting with their attack right into that town hall compartment. Troops are splitting a little bit. He did not catch all of those Root Riders, but most of them. We have as well the Roy Champion, or no, the Barbarian King on the far left side, with having the remaining troops pushing now in. And the Queen so far is still alive. He needs to make sure everything is staying alive for as long as possible, because this means more damage output, and this is the important story here.
Bernal did leave headhunters in that CC, but Ziken's troops were able to take them out before they presented any threat to the Royal Champion or the Grand Warden. It's still a nice army in the core of the base, but with that Royal Champion's ability already popped, she's got to rely on spell support now to take out the remaining structures. There's a single target infernal along the top side that could cause a problem for any of the heroes that get close enough. Defending Barbarian King will try to hold on to this Eagle artillery next to him as long as he can. It's going to be one more freeze on the top side to take out that Expo and keep those wizards safe. Ziken makes his way back into the core of the base now with additional firepower, but he is railing on this base and cannot take it down quickly enough. We are 80 seconds in, and there is still too much standing, Itsu.
That's right, they have to hope now for a defense. I mean, we have said that already earlier today in a match. We have said, okay, it's pretty much GG from this point. They, back then was Tribe Gaming, needed a defense, and it actually happened. So nothing is over. HTM still needs to play this clean with their last attack, and making sure that they're getting this 3-star in with somewhat close to their average time, and they're going to win this match. They're going to get that match versus Tribe Gaming in the upper bracket. But first, Bernal has to deliver.
There is no player I would rather have as my champion in the last round of a tight war than Bernal. An extraordinarily tactical player who can crack through walls like a hot knife through butter, slicing into this base and finding a surgical mode of entry. He drops those Root Riders on the bottom side, supports with the Grand Warden, and the Queen on the right corner has already popped an ability and gotten a rage spell to blast through a massive section here. He sees that monolith charged up and drops the skeleton spell to protect and pops the Eternal Tome as well. There is no overgrowth at all for this Root Rider army, Itsu.
There is no overgrowth indeed. That's why he has to invest this freeze now. There goes the combination of the Spiky Ball and the Earthquake Boots for the Barbarian King. The Queen still staying alive, even though there were a lot of traps again on this far right side. But it seems like not to be enough to hold back those troops, because the base is gone.
Obliteration! Well done to HTM Esports! With an average attack time of 1 minute and 10 seconds, they have nicely closed that gap, and throughout the entirety of this war, maintained a lead against a team well known for their turnabout play. The momentum shifters have performed admirably, but the world champions will reign supreme in this upper bracket match and are moving onwards A 57-second attack. Bernal could have closed an even bigger gap than that. And that was the exact showing that we have come to expect from a world's class squad. I think HTM Brazil have got just as much chance as any team here to earn that golden ticket.
Yeah, we have a lot of good teams in this competition. HTM looks like they're on fire. They're looking really, really good. And they only have to play one match today, which means they don't have to show too much of their strategies, of their approaches. And those attacks looked really, really strong by them. The combination of how they used the giant arrow with the healer puppet, with early rage and spell support in general for the queen looked really, really good.
An extraordinary finish, and congratulations as well to a well-done showing for the Momentum Shifters. They're going to be fighting in the lower bracket. Another team with a perfect war right there alongside Vatang, also scoring a perfect war. Certainly expect to see them advance and do well through the lower bracket semifinals and potentially even make it back for a revenge strike. But it is going to be an uphill battle for them, while HTM Esports can sit atop the hill and will face off against an impressive foe, Tribe Gaming. That match tomorrow. The next two today will be elimination rounds in the lower bracket quarterfinals.
That's right. At this point, every single match, or at least the last two matches today, we're going to have one team dropping out of this competition, meaning there is no comeback chance. That's it for them for this year when it comes to the World Championship. This is the moment they have to show up. Otherwise, the hope of the golden ticket is just gone. And take a look again at those average times. Achilles, with that first set of attack, was really, really impressive. And Bernal to finish things off with 57 seconds. That was really, really good from those two players. And their team just made sure that they kept the average high or low.
Wow.
And Bernal with 64%. That's kind of crazy. That's really impressive.
That is insane. A majority of voters saying that Bernal was clearly the most valuable player of that last lineup. And with a sub 1 minute strike to close out for the victory, how can you disagree? Both Leos from each team, both HTM and Momentum Shifters Leo, taking the honorable mention spots there with 7% of the vote. And you had an incredibly impressive lineup from both sides, showing us some great clash in action. Judah, let's go to you next. What are your first thoughts on that final war?
I guess my first thoughts would just be that we expected it to be close. It obviously was perfect tie, but HTM Esports just having those couple of faster attacks, and wow, Bernal, fastest one of the day so far. What an attack, and it certainly builds for an exciting set of matches tomorrow as well. How about yourself, Itsu?
Yeah, I mean, it was just really, really strong. We were already expecting that those two teams would look really strong within the tournament. HTM especially. I mean, they are for sure one of the favorites for this entire competition for the weekend, and they were showing up on offense and on defense, because holding back Momentum Shifters on this average time is not easy whatsoever. So that was quite impressive to make sure that they're delaying the attacks, making things a bit more tricky, maybe with specific angle of those giant arrows, for example, and so on. So really well done on offense and on defense, and that's the important thing currently for sure, buddy.
Certainly is. You cannot have any weak links in this chain if you want to make it all the way to the grand finals. The last golden ticket will be claimed by a team that has superb bases, excellent rapid fast offense, and rarely makes any major mistakes. We see now the bracket on screen with advancement for Tribe Gaming and HTM Esports to the upper finals. Two teams that have been in more world championship matches than any other squads competing here today, and yet only one of them can claim a golden ticket. Or will it be one of the teams from the lower bracket still alive and fighting for survival? Vatang, Dizi, Momentum Shifters, and Pulse Gaming are still in contention, Judo.
They certainly are. And, I always go back to the very first monthly qualifier where Synchronic unfortunately got knocked down in the very first round and then went all of the way through, right? So whilst it does seem like such an uphill battle, it certainly is something that we have seen happen before. So I think the teams have always got to keep that in mind. But looking at our predictions for the next matchup, looks like Carbon, who unfortunately is not here to defend himself, only being the person picking Dizi, we all went with Vatang. I personally was just very impressed with their performance earlier versus Tribe. But how about yourself, Itsu?
Yeah, it was the same for me, just based off the first performances of those teams. I feel like Vatang showed really, really good attacks. They struggled with one last attack, which had I don't know, maybe pressure was coming to them or something. But otherwise, the attack, they had the lead pretty much over the entire match versus Tribe, and they just could not close it out. So I feel like Vatang has a really, really good shot at winning this match. Dizi on the other side, though, is not easy opponent whatsoever. And I think, again, a lot of those matches, since we have the Last Chance Qualifier of the top teams right now out there, is still going to be a really, really close match, Woody.
Yeah, this is going to be a terrifyingly close one yet again. But I picked Vatang on this one. They had a perfect war in their last round, and I don't even think we saw them at their full power. Lancelot, the last to attack, knew that his team had already taken the loss, and so although he was able to close it out with a 3-star, nothing to, really much improve on. I think that we can still see even quicker, more confident strikes from them when they're fighting with their backs up against the wall. I will say, I don't hold it against Carbon to pick Dizi, though. I think that they did an extraordinary job against a really tough foe. And although momentum shifters are going to be going down to the lower bracket now, we did see them do an amazing job starting off against Dizi, scoring a 15-star performance. They gave Dizi a major run for their money, and forcing them down to the lower bracket. They are going to have to climb back in a very difficult position, but it could be either way here.
Yeah, and the one thing I would say is Dizi Esports obviously gained their silver ticket most recently. They had to battle through the Global Clash Cup, and there was a number of top-tier teams trying to get that last silver ticket because that was the last chance to get the golden ticket, right? So they really held it together and they went perfect throughout the entire tournament, 15 stars throughout. So they are certainly a very highly respected team. I think in that last matchup they had, it was really just that one attack from DP where he missed that giant arrow and then it was just that little bit difficult to recover. But we can obviously take a look at some of the stats for this upcoming match too.
Yeah, but keep in mind that two of the players of Vatang were traded, changed, switched, whatever you want to name it. This is why the numbers look so weird. But for Dizi Esports, you can see it already. We have a lot of players being perfect with their hit rate, 100% 3-star rate, 100% destruction rate. And I feel like this is the story for a lot of teams currently out there. And it's all about just showing up today, because we all know those players are here for a reason. They're incredibly talented. And you can see as well the same for Vatang. There is the stats of 2 players missing, which means this is why the stats looked so weird in the first place. But all of the other players which were part of the qualifying lineup of Vatang had a 100% hit rate. So this is going to be an insanely stacked match, Woody.
It absolutely will be. I'm really looking forward to this, and just alongside other really close matches like the Momentum Shifters versus Dizi match earlier today, I think that we are going to have a very tight finish here that could go down to the very last attack. So keep your eyes peeled on this next one. We have got an extraordinary war ahead for all of you to enjoy. It's been a great pleasure casting the last 3, but I will be taking a back seat out of the next round. But first, let's check out this prediction scoring on the bottom here. We've got Vatang with 55% of the community vote to Dizi Esports is 45%, kind of in line with what the casters were tipping in Vatang's favor, but still seeing a lot of clear, confident support from Dizi among those diehard fans. Is there anything that you want to make of that, Judo, before we hop into the match?
No, I think that is very much what we thought as casters, and I think it's being like that throughout most of the day. As we've seen the community predictions, they have kind of been in line with what we have thought, whether we've all picked the same team and the community went with the same, or whether it's been that 50-50 split. And I feel at the moment it is just very hard to predict. So I guess we will see whether we are right or whether, you know, that smaller percentage of the community is right. But I guess we will take over, myself and Itsu. So thank you for joining, Woody, and we can go from there. I'll let you kick
That's
off,
right.
Itsu.
Let's go with that next match. Hopefully starting then really soon with those attacks. But until then, between those two teams, you have just said it, Dizi winning the most recent competition, or like winning through that most recent competition, their silver ticket, and with going perfect as well through that, as you said. Do you think they have an advantage compared to Vatang, maybe, like who qualified really early into the year? Or do you think by now all of those players are playing so many community tournaments, are playing the game so much anyways, that it's maybe not as big of an advantage as you might think?
If Vatang was coming into this at their first match, I would have probably said yes, because even the community tournaments, personally, I think they're just so different to then when it really matters in the qualifiers and you're going up against fresh bases and, you know, there's that added pressure, if you will. But Vatang have already had a match under their belt today where they have shown that they're still on top form. In fact, looking at the stats, their two new players, Frosty and Jewel, they got 3 stars as well. So technically they would have a 100% hit rate across the board. So if it was their first match, I would think yes. For this one, I don't think so. I think it's really just who comes down to it for this match. But one thing I will say that's pretty interesting is if Vatang do end up winning this one, so Dizi, you know, Esports are eliminated, if you will, it just gets a little bit more intense towards the end because we're seeing so many more of the teams that have been getting the perfect wars versus dropping those stars as well.
Yeah, and I feel like as well that just based off the name, if you can say that, like with Vatang, they were around for pretty much whenever Clash Esports started, right? So seeing such a big name in here with going then further, meeting up with like HTM, who, yes, they have changed their sponsor from time to time, but the players, they're already as well around for forever pretty much. Then we have as well Tribe, same story for them. So we have a lot of big names in this Last Chance Qualifier, which makes it really, really exciting. And then as well some newcomers with teams where we might have not seen the names in like the last years non-stop, but this is the chance. Dizi are starting things up as well with the common equipment combination, which we have seen a lot today, which seems to be the favorite, and the Angry Jelly on the Barbarian King to push into that compartment of the Archer Queen as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I really like that in combination with the jump spell. Just get him in there, make sure that the gauntlet is activated straight away so he can splash through those buildings, and now it's not as big of a deal when he's caught on the ice golems. Then he's obviously got the Archer Queen dealing with the left side, whilst his main push can move through from the bottom area of the base. So I like the approach here so far.
Yeah, the approach looks solid for sure, but can the Queen wrap around? Yes, she is going for the outside. I was really, really scared that she might go for the wall. That's something which she loves to do, but so far this looks good. She was wrapping around, keeping her alive with that rage, making sure that he's getting her towards that town hall. But wait a second, she's chasing some skeletons. The other troops still have to get towards the town hall, but with the rage, that should be no problem whatsoever.
It should be no problem. He has the thumbs up to the camera. And one thing I really liked about that attack, and is something that you see all of the pros do, in fact, but they just sparingly place in those super barbarians so they have that raged effect to knock out the defenses as they move around the base. And he did that very well there. You could notice as he was able to target a couple of the archer towers at the north, just gradually sprinkling in those super barbarians to help make sure you can utilize that raged bonus when they're first deployed.
Yeah, really, really strong start for them. And we have, I feel like still, like it's such an important thing to start into the match so good, because it is not something which every team has. It feels like this comeback spirit, if you want to name it that way. And it's just so hard to stay mentally in those matches when you are already behind 20 or even 30 seconds just after 1 or 2 attacks. But you have the next attack getting ready with Vatang and Electro Dragons starting into this base with 2 rages separated and the giant arrow flying towards those Electro Dragons.
Indeed, I was keeping an eye next to the town hall there in case there was a tornado trap or anything, but it successfully gets that down, using the skeleton spell now to try and distract the monolith and scatters in the middle, but having a little bit of an issue trying to get that down so far, as one of his electro dragons is just caught on that enemy king, the best air defense in the game.
Yeah, he's stalling that Electro Dragon for forever. It's really annoying, especially because he cannot get any chain lightning value. But that Electro Dragon to take down the monolith, that would be important, and that is something which we have seen more and more over the day. Those isolated monolith, which can be, especially on the back end, so annoying. The Royal Champ is getting targeted as well. She still has to get through some defenses, but the Royal Champ should get that. Oh, last shot!
Wow.
And
1 minute and 4, I think that was.
Yeah, and even better time. So, like, both teams are starting really, really good.
Exactly. I was worried about that monolith staying up, but he made short work of it. I guess the Electro Dragon's just taking out the outside so that they could then focus in on that at the end. Really nice job there, and exactly what we expected kicking off this match. Close in the stats out of the gates, but a very slight lead there now for Vatang.
Yeah, but 2 seconds, that is not much whatsoever. We have seen way, way bigger leads, and even matches then getting turned around to make sure that they're really, really close. So I'm looking forward to the next attack. Dizi is coming up with Kai. I feel like, based on the numbers, he was the only player, at least in this competition, not perfect for his team, I believe. So him showing up now within 3-star and with a quick attack in general would be amazing. And take a look at that. Even before those changes to the equipments, those players are already using the combination of the Earthquake with that spiky ball, because it can be really, really powerful.
Yeah, depending on where you plan to use that, you can obviously get that extra damage onto the defenses and then finish them off with the spiky ball as well, which is obviously extremely helpful. And you can notice the push in towards the town hall there. Royal Champion now just able to get those defenses around the side that he's deployed the overgrowth, so she's nice and protected as well. And just slowly continuing to deploy those troops around the outside.
Yeah, getting those troops in, making sure those outside buildings are going down. The Queen is really close to dying. Her going down would be not good whatsoever, because that is damage which is missing. And yes, you said it, she is going down indeed. The rage on the top right side is giving the Royal Champ even more power, but the town hall is now the last building left standing, and he has to go through the entire base to get that.
Yes, and the King's spiky ball went off early, so he can't rely on that to finish off buildings. Actually, he didn't really get much value out of the Earthquake Boots. They still got a strong push towards the town hall here with all of the troops. He can continually freeze it, but the time is the most impactful thing here. 1 minute and 24, I think that looked like. So pulling the average attack down, which is one thing you've talked a lot about today, Itsu, is the consistency of time through the teams, and that's what seems to be bringing them out on top.
Yeah, I feel like it's just so important to have really a lot of consistent attackers, and then like 1 or 2 in your team need to have like a good match or something, and that's then like really the deciding factor. But we have Vatang up next, and they have now the chance of actually taking the first, let's say, bigger lead.
We could say so, but as you correctly mentioned in the last matchup, you can be clawing your way ahead, and that's what happened initially with Tribe, getting that victory at the end because of that slip-up. So you've just got to make sure you're always taking the right approaches. Interestingly, has the Angry Jelly on the Queen on this one after the giant arrow flung through the base. But she is a little bit caught on the skeletons there first. Now she'll move in, but the red air bombs make short work of the healers.
And he actually triggered the Rage Tower early because of the spiky ball. So is he going to now rethink the plan with the overgrowth? And it seems like he does. I'm pretty sure that the original plan was to use that overgrowth for the Rage Tower in the middle. But because the Rage Tower was bounced with that spiky ball, he does not need to do so. And he has now a big group of troops going around the top side for the space.
Yeah, Royal Champion just trying to take out this bottom area as well. Hog Riders moving forward to try and help her out. Meanwhile, the Root Riders are taking care of the top side of the base. So he's got things split in two here to try and speed up time. But as you can notice, we're already over the minute mark and we are past the average time of Vatang. So it's just, we are lowering their time at this point because they've passed their average time.
Yeah, Clan Castle going down to the last building, but it seems like both teams are still staying close. 1 minute 14 to 1 minute 13 on average. And this means those two teams, they're keeping the match close, making sure that we have an exciting match to watch, because it's always incredible if there's only 1 or maybe 2 seconds difference between those two matching teams.
Yeah, interesting there. Just making sure that when you've got that lead, trying to make sure that you're keeping on top of it. I know it sounds really easy, right? But it's, I mean, as an ex-player, what do you think in that situation? Is it a lot easier to just keep onto that lead? Or as things start to slip, is there a tipping point where even if you're technically in the lead, you feel like the momentum's not in your favor anymore?
Yeah, that's for sure true as well. But the next attack is in with that giant arrow yet again. We have not really a classic island around that monolith, but we have a couple of storages which kind of work the same when we're talking about Root Riders because they're not getting targeted. And in that core we have even more storages. This looks kind of like a good I don't know, like a loot base or something with all of those storages inside. But obviously they're mainly there for pathing purposes of those troops to make sure that the Root Riders are not as predictable in where they're going next.
Yeah, excellent point there with regards to trying to make sure that your defensive pathing is, you know, impacting where the Root Riders go. And it's always a little bit tricky once you have the overgrowth and then all of the troops just stood in that area. You notice the tornado trap just catching them, and that will slow them down a little bit in that area as they try and path through the overgrowth spell.
Yeah, the town hall is just getting overwhelmed with all of those defenses. The monolith, though, is still standing and might as well take down some more troops, which then is obviously important for the time as well. We have 1 minute and as well 15 seconds, 1 minute 20 seconds gone. The last freeze is coming in, but the Royal Champion has to go through a couple of defenses, and this attack is not as fast as the first two attacks.
Yeah, even though that last attack from Vatang did draw their average down quite a bit, this attack obviously being longer than that in itself means that Vatang still have a more significant lead due to this attack being even slower. So things just not quite going exactly how Dizi would like in terms of speed. But I guess with a couple of attacks left, they can still get this spun around.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, we have to wait what Vatang is going to bring to the table, with Frosty being that next attacker versus Denden's base. And we will most likely see again those Root Riders or another Dragon attack, which we have not seen that often yet in this specific match. But both troops are just so strong right now with the combination of the equipments. And indeed, we're actually seeing the Dragons this time around to make sure that we have not only those Root Riders in this match so far, and it's going to be again with the Overgrowth combination together, which is just so popular, especially if there's a Rage Tower close by.
Exactly, and Frosty, one of the new players to Vatang, obviously got the 3-star in the other matchup. And one thing that I've found interesting so far is the rocket spear for a lot of the attacks. You can notice to the left side of the base, the Royal Champion just sniping off those buildings to make sure that she can take out a section of the base and try and speed up the attack. And this is before the rocket spear even gets buffed.
Yep, that is right. Wait, that monolith has taken down so many dragons at the bottom side. Take a look at this. There's not that many dragons left in the core. The Rage Tower now going off. The king trying to stay alive with going for the wall as the queen. But that town hall raged up is dealing a lot of damage right now.
He accidentally used one of his invisibility spells off to the side of the base to turn an archer invisible as it was moving into the base. Would have been nice on the dragons for the center, but still manages to get a pretty fast attack there, Itsu. I think that was 1 minute and 3 seconds, in fact.
Yeah, that's just really, really crazy when it looks like, wait a second, this part is not going to plan, or maybe a couple of more troops than expected are going down. But as long as those heroes are staying alive, that is such a big game changer, because that is so many, like that's so many damage points which you're getting out every single second. So keeping them alive for as long as possible is so important, and we have seen that earlier in some attacks with the queen on the flank going down or other things. And this is then already like 20, even 30 seconds of a difference, which is a lot in the current meta for sure.
Yeah, and when we look at the average attack time, we obviously see that Vatang are close to 10 seconds in the lead. I think they were 9 seconds in the lead. But what you have to remember is after multiple attacks, that's a much bigger difference. So Vatang are about 30 seconds in the lead, and that is time that Dizi Esports have to catch up. So the longer the match goes on, the bigger the average attack time ends up being in, like, how difficult it is to catch up, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because they don't have that many chances anymore to catch up really with their attacks. But this combination, I feel like the giant arrow and the healer puppet is just so popular for the pros, because it's just so good. It's setting up the pathing and everything. But wait a second, there are some Tesla which might mess up the pathing, which was intended, because I think he was planning on those root riders going into the queen compartment. But with those Tesla, they're getting distracted a little bit to the flank. The queen, though, is staying alive, and the topside with the siege barrack is struggling a little bit with those giant bombs.
Yeah, and then we have all of those skeleton traps as well, just kind of distracting the P.E.K.K.A. and the Royal Champion up there, chipping away at that time every little bit. I love the skeleton spells that we've been seeing today, though, just dropping them in those areas to distract, especially where that ricochet cannon is. He just had the Royal Champion turn invisible there, but now uses the ability to spawn those Hog Riders and try and get things down a little bit quicker.
Yeah, defense going down quicker and quicker, but that town hall is staying up for quite some time. The troops have to get back. There is just the king with his ability, but there he goes. The earthquake boots activated. But he has to go a long way towards that top side, and with the town explosion coming in really soon as well, that will be a lot of damage to those troops. The Valkyries at the top, they're trying their best, but the time is ticking and it's not in their favor. They needed a really fast attack, but this attack is already like going slower than the 1 minute and 30 second mark.
Yeah, unfortunate there. I wonder, I'd have to watch it back, but I wonder whether when he placed the overgrowth spell, he caught those defenses up the top, and I wonder whether that was because of the Tesla pulling the Root Riders up to the top, as you mentioned. So he tried to path the Root Riders back down to the bottom. I'd have to rewatch it, but it's difficult to say. Either way, it didn't work out for him. But what were your thoughts, you know, on that attack? Do you think it was mainly the pathing of the Root Riders which hurt him there?
For sure, those Tesla in the beginning, really splitting up the Root Riders, made things really unexpected for him, with all of those traps stacked in those compartments, with all of those storages, especially as well on the opposite side, where the siege barracks has gotten way less value than he was expecting, because of a lot of giant bombs, a lot of Tesla near those storages, which then were protecting those defenses nearby. So overall, really solid defensive preparation there. But now we're seeing one of those famous well, fireball attacks, I would assume, with those rocket loons. They can be one of the quickest attacks in the game, but you can fall short quite a bit as well. And there he goes. Oh no! The fireball going in the wrong direction. This is the risk of this strategy. If things go right, you are here for a really quick attack. If things go wrong, have fun saving the attack. It is a really, really risky approach, and let's see if he can save this.
Yeah, I'm very surprised he took this approach, given his first attack in the war versus Tribe, because he literally just scraped the 3-star. And right now, Vatang are sitting comfortably over Dizi. Notice the giant arrow just pinging off into the distance as well, not getting maximum value. So this is going to be tricky. And even if he can recover it, the attack time, notice, he's almost a minute into the attack already, Itsu.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's all about just saving the 3-star. It's less about, like, I don't know, time or anything. It's all about making sure that he only 3 stars. That's the important thing. The town hall is getting activated as well. The clan castle is getting lured. The king is about to go down. At least as he has the phoenix. And I think there was even the tornado trap close by that monolith. But it's going down. The royal champion with that support. But I mean, Judo, this is not looking good. Is this even going to be a 2nd star?
I have no clue. He needs to save some of those rocket balloons for the town hall because he spawned the hog riders instantly into 2 giant bombs. I don't even think the rocket balloons have enough strength to get to the town hall. It is going to be a 1 star here for Vatang. There goes our predictions. And Dizi Esports taking a huge advantage, Itsu.
Yeah, the fireball is just so risky if used like this in those pro matches, because just the risk of 1 Tesla popping, or as on this one, the range not really calculated correctly and it's flying in the wrong direction, it is just so big. It's like a high risk, high reward. And I would mostly use that strategy when I'm behind. But I mean, if you take a look at the time, it was 1 minute 27 to 1 minute 13 on average. They had the match pretty much won at this point. They only had to 3-star, which arguably, based on the meta and based on the opinion of the pros, is really easy. So yeah, really surprised about the strategy choice here. Without any need, he went a really risky approach. And now it's, well, Dizi at this point just 3-star. Play it safe, play the safest approach as possible, and you're good to go.
Yeah, of course. I mean, even if that attack was planned, just, you know, when you see you're gradually getting that far in the lead, swap out to the Root Rider army and play it safe. So it's, I think he's going to be kicking himself after this, after, you know, the tournament, because I can't see Dizi Esports slipping up that much, especially since, you know, they have the Root Riders. And I feel that was just a mistake on their part. So here we go, trying to get the victory. We've got the giant arrow nicely across the base. Everything getting set up beautifully so far. Root Riders are in. Overgrowth ready for the center of the base.
Yeah, that's just such a good way of countering those rage towers. But he's trying to get closer to the rage tower to make sure that he's using the overgrowth as soon as the rage tower is triggered. So just right now, that's exactly the timing, because this means the rage effect is not as like dangerous anymore. He's kind of overlapping currently the freeze and the warden internal tone, which is not really optimal. You kind of want to make sure that only one of them is active, because doing both is not really needed. But with the rage effect running out, the damage output of those defenses is not as crazy anymore, and he's looking completely fine, because remember, we don't have to look out for the time whatsoever in this attack. It's all about just 3-starring, and they're looking fine with this one.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about 2-starring, to be fair, and he's getting in towards that town hall, celebrating because he has so many troops left over. It will be a 3-star, and the victory for Dizi Esports. Wow.
And what a comeback in another match, which is somehow getting turned around. I mean, yes, not always the team which is behind is doing the plays, but as well the team which is in the lead has to do the right decisions when it comes down to strategy choice and many more. So overall, really well done from Dizi. But now it's up to Lens Loader to do the last final attack for his team, which I think is not going to be an easy one. So let's see what he's going to bring in. I guess something really classic to get their last attack of the tournament in here.
Yeah, it's a bit of an unfortunate position, obviously, because I feel like in Vatang's first war, he just looked depleted on the camera, right? Like, he got the 3-star, but he didn't really show any emotion whatsoever because he knew they'd lost. And I feel like he's just in a very similar position here. So let's see whether he can go out in style, I guess, keep his head held high. And Vatang have, you know, they've put up some great performances. I think they are a team that seem to keep coming back again and again. So I am sure this won't be the last time we see them. And let's just focus in on this attack, I guess, Itsu, to close out the wall.
Yeah, using nicely the skeleton spell to distract that monolith at the top side. This time around, the monolith is not as isolated as we have seen in the earlier attacks, or bases to be more specific. But the queen closing in on the bottom side, staying alive for now. He needs to make sure that that Queen is staying alive because she's just such a great support in many ways. But that has to be accomplished with maybe a rage, something. Go on, save her. Do something, please.
Just wants to hold you in suspense, Itsu. She's fine. She's all good.
What?
I mean, it worked, I guess, but he does have multiple rage spells left over. Things fizzling out at the north of the base. Hog Rider's moving into the center, trying to just freeze things up to allow them to quickly take that town hall down. Can they get through the poison and help take down these final few defenses?
Yeah, they should get through, right? We have to another rage. Or is it not going to be enough? That's the question. Oh, with the last shot, that Inferno Tower is going down, which is clutch because there was a single Inferno Tower right there. The King currently is tanking, the Queen's still alive, going through the wall. Queen can follow, and it's going to be a 3-star. It's a close one, though, but it is a 3-star in the end. It is not really deciding anything about the outcome because Dizi already won this match, and they're staying alive in this last chance qualifier, doing step by step, taking a look at every single match one by one to make sure that they are now crawling their way back out of the lower bracket into the finals, but that's still a long way ahead of them.
It certainly is, but as you mentioned, after they had secured the victory, you've got to give credit to Dizi Esports. Even though they were slowly falling behind, they just kept with it. They stuck with their strategy, and that's all you can do. Sometimes it'll pay off, sometimes it won't, but they seemed to just stick to their own game. They didn't make any rash choices or anything like that, and, got the victory, so thoroughly deserved.
Yeah, that's for sure, and in the end, well, that's just so unfortunate. I mean, I don't want to be in the current position of Vatang. This is just so heartbreaking, really having the match in the bag, and then things like this happen. Well, it can happen, especially with the fireball. It is a risky equipment to use, like the pros are using it. I would not recommend anyone out there using the equipment like the pros are doing, because this is only concentrating on like a quick attack, not like on an efficient attack. And it can backfire quite a bit, and that's what we have seen today, and really costing him, because if you're getting the fireball not in the right place, it is just so hard to save the attack, and even on a second star, as we have just seen in this match right here.
Yeah, and I think the deeper you're planning the fireball to go into the base as well, the harder it becomes to predict those ranges. And in the example we've seen, the Eagle Artillery seemed to be so far away from the Warden, he might have just not even considered that as an area the fireball would go to. So it's one of those things, we love to see those attacks, and I admire anyone that tries them in these situations, but there is definitely something to be said for playing it safe and just making sure you do get the 3-star and the fast time. Style points don't really count when it comes to the scoreboards, obviously, as nice as they are.
Yeah, but really take a look at the first couple of attacks. 1 minute 4 second, 1 minute 4 second twice. That was really, really impressive. And yeah, that's like the thing as well, which I feel like is a lot of times underestimated. Picking the right strategies, because in the end we just see the attack itself and not really like, okay, was this the best strategy they could have picked, or maybe could have gone in for another objective, for example. That's, I guess, the main question which we could second guess from the outside perspective. But remember, in that moment, it's always been different. And wow, the community, they're out there for blood, because they're voting DP as the MVP of this match. Okay.
I almost said, that I think he was going for the MVP with that attack, and hey, he got it anyway. So I guess let's welcome back the one caster that did pick Dizi Esports. Carbon, what did you make of that match?
It was an incredible run from Vatang, but unfortunately, things like that do happen, and fireballs can be very risky. They can lead to a lot of 1-stars, but they can also lead to crushing in very fast attacks. I mean, I did predict Dizi there, so hey, at least I get one of them right. My predictions today have not really been on point. But let's go and jump into the bracket to be able to get an updated look at how we stand today, as we only have one more match left at Zoo.
That's right, one more match and one more team which, well, the dreams are over for them after that one match because they won't make it to the World Finals. Only one team can make it to the second round in the lower bracket, and they will then face Dizi Esports over there. It's either going to be Momentum Shifters or Pulse Gaming. Both have already played a couple of matches today. Momentum Shifters actually played already 2 matches, so they're the 3rd match into this, while Pulse Gaming have lost earlier today versus Tribe Gaming, and they're now up for revenge or getting their first win within this bracket of this Last Chance Qualifier right here at Judo.
Exactly, and it feels a little bit strange because Pulse Gaming attacked first, and then since then Momentum Shifters have had 2 matches in order to, you know, get into the swing of things. So this will be an interesting one, and it's also interesting that we all did actually pick Momentum Shifters for this prediction. Myself, I think they've done tremendous. They got Perfect War twice in the 2 matches, whereas Pulse did drop that star in the first match, so primarily that's why I picked them. But Carbon, what was your reasoning for this one?
I've picked them because I think they are such a very strong team. Pulse as well, but I think it will come down to time, 15-15. And if it had to come down for time, there's plenty of attackers on Momentum Shifters that can bring a very fast attack. Pulse Gaming can as well, but it's really Chihuahua that is the one that's been delivering quick triples for extended periods of time. So, I mean, it can go either way here, but we're getting ready for the final match here today. And then tomorrow, we will be finding out who is going to be getting that final golden ticket here. But an incredible match, and Itsu, these stats are still insane.
Yeah, I mean, the stats are for sure insane. On the other side, though, you have to remember those stats are collected over like a long time frame where they have played in recent qualifiers, so it might be a different meta or different teams within that qualifier. But either way, I mean, this hit rate list of this team is just incredible. And the question now is, did they recover quick enough, like mentally, from their loss in the upper bracket? Or do they struggle now with the comeback? Because Pulse Gaming, they're looking really, really strong on the other side as well. And they have some incredible attackers, as you just said.
Yeah, attackers with a bunch of experience as well, which is what we're seeing a lot moving into this side of things. It really just does come down to who will be able to hold their nerve and perform in this last matchup, because if anything has been shown through the predictions today, it's that it can go either way, Carbon. Let's take a look at the community's predictions here.
60% going with Momentum Shifters, while 40% going with Pulse Gaming. Us casters going unanimous for Momentum Shifters, was a little bit close to 50-50. Not there, just a bit favoring on Momentum Shifters there, but still, it's the lower bracket and anything can happen here. So, as we're getting ready for this final match here today, we're going to be saying goodbye to Itsu, Judo, and I will be jumping into this one to be bringing you this match. And this is a lower bracket, meaning the winner of this will be advanced to take on Dizi, who just defeated Vatang, but they still have a long run to go in order to try to make it to a grand finals.
Yes, and after this match, they also get this evening in order to reset and get ready for the matches tomorrow, because this is the last match of today. One of these teams is going home, and there is no more chances of getting their golden ticket. So the stakes are high. Let's just put it that way, Carbon.
It is. It is all coming down here for these teams. You cannot be getting sent home, because then you can't get a golden ticket tomorrow, and that's the last opportunity, as this is the Last Chance Qualifiers. They have played through so many tournaments, so many qualifiers to try to get to this point here. And they're so close. They can feel it. If they can make it to tomorrow, they feel like they have a chance. All they need is just a match, and they can take down anyone. And that's what it can happen in this meta here in Clash of Clans. One mistake from any team can cost you.
Yes, you have to be incredibly consistent. But here we go with the first attack. It is Pulse Gaming going first with the Root Riders and Valkyries. Giant arrow straight across the base, trying to set the funnel down to the bottom area of the base as well, with the Root Riders then obviously moving into the middle.
Yeah, Root Rider's Valkyrie's coming right on through as the Queen's gonna stay on the far edge of the space as that Grand Warden Eternal Tome gets activated to push his way through. Can pair in one Overgrowth spell, usually for that Town Hall, as the King is yet to be deployed and has the Angry Jelly with him.
Yeah, I was just looking at that. I wonder whether he... Yeah, there goes the King at the top of the base then. Obviously just waiting to try and merge things in together. He's got a Headhunter as well, which I thought maybe he might have deployed up the top there. As you can see, we're slowly getting the inside of the base going down. Spiky Ball goes through a couple of the defenses at the top. The base is falling here. It's really then just collapsing to the center, but he's got 2 rage spells to help out.
Does pair, well, pairs in those freezes there as the Rage as well are coming down, sniping the Town Hall. Rud Champ still on the left side, pushing through the Ricochet Cannon. Queen stays alive throughout the entirety of this attack, and Watto coming in with a 3-star, 1 minute 11 second triple there for Pulse Gaming.
Yeah, around about on par with what we've been seeing, I would say, with the average. So a good start. I'm sure he'll be relatively happy with that. Do you think he wanted the Spiky Ball for the end? Because it seemed like his King just got caught up on the defending King at the top of the base. And typically we do see the Spiky Ball trying to speed things up at the end.
I think whenever a player brings right around 3 Earthquakes, that is basically their plan for the Spiky Ball for the end. In this case, I didn't see any of that, so I don't think it was necessarily meant to be used for the end to get defenses, because sometimes specifically they use the Spiky Ball, like you mentioned, to hit those key defenses, but typically you want to pair in Earthquakes so you can one-shot them and they can go down. But here is Spray, one of the faster attackers here, if not the fastest average attacker that's coming in for Momentum Shifters, as the Grand Warden ability goes straight off with double rages, pushing these dragons right on in towards the Eagle Artillery.
Yeah, beautiful start here with the Queen getting both of those sweepers. And you mentioned it, Spray is a very fast attacker. He was actually on Vatang when they first qualified and was their fastest attacker back in April. Moving over to Momentum Shifters, and you can see why. He's very good with the dragons, but they're just caught up in the tornado trap at the moment with a bunch of small HP troops coming out of the CC. Means that he can't really get to those single target infernos either. The dragons are going down fast here.
These dragons are getting picked off one by the singles. There were sinking air mines in this section as well, which has given him a big problem. And at this point, now it's not a matter about time, it's a matter about actually 3-starring, as this is where you could pair in a King ability. If he gets it perfectly used, it could hit these single target infernos, do quite a bit of damage. And let's see, remember, it's going to hit 9 buildings. There's a freeze on the single for that baby dragon. Skips, takes that down, and yes, indeed it will be a 3-star here for Spray with a 1 minute and 16-second hit.
Yeah, I mean, fantastic, to be honest, because, you know, as we were developing through the attack there, we thought he just has to try and rescue this and make sure that you don't drop a star this early. But in fact, it's still a pretty good a time. 5 seconds behind that of Pulse Gaming, but obviously we've only had 1 attack each at the moment, so still plenty of time for Momentum Shifters to be able to pull that back.
Indeed, they can take their time in terms of planning, but you have to be able to go in at a moment's notice in terms of, hey, the attack finished earlier, you got to be ready to go to deliver, and Chiawa is gonna be up next for Pulse Gaming. My question usually always is for him, will there be a fireball? Doesn't look like it, as we do have an Angry Jelly onto the King. Root Riders are down with the Apprentice Warden, and the Queen's arrow comes kind of towards the bottom, towards 6 o'clock, as the Queen can stay on the top side and eventually be responsible for grabbing that Town Hall.
Yeah, she should be relatively okay along the outside of the base there. He does have a, well, just as I say that, a bunch of skeleton traps pop in order to slow him down. So he has to invest the freeze spell over there. Wall breaks to try and get the Queen in, and she is raged with the healers. Has to use the skeleton spell as well, but she's going to go down there, Carbon. Huge issue here.
That queen was supposed to go all the way to the town hall. He's got no overgrowth. So these Root Riders and Valks were responsible for going into the court. There's the Earthquake and Spiky Ball for the king. But we can start to hear those P.E.K.K.A.'s cry getting taken out from, which were originally out from the siege barracks. But we have the Super Barbarians running their way from the top side around. He is now pathing his way towards this town hall. Root Riders will open the wall for that king. But with that queen going down, definitely slow this attack down. Slash. Will it be a 3? I think it should still be enough. Granted, we have a Ricochet Cannon Ground Expo, which will be a problem.
Yeah, I think with those super minions, he should be okay there, but like you said, he really didn't intend for those Root Riders and King to move to the town hall. Slows him down drastically. With a bunch of red air mines, it's certainly going to be close here.
Wow. That was close, and he does deliver, gets the triple, a 1 minute 34 second attack, and this could be one of the slowest ones of the match and could cost them. So now momentum shifters are going to be looking like they could try to take advantage of this opportunity that just opened up.
Indeed. Whilst their first attack wasn't quite as quick as Pulse Gaming's first one, they really have a chance now to increase that time quite drastically. So what will we see Imran coming in with? I think mainly we've seen obviously the Root Riders and the Dragons as we expect, the odd Electro Dragon attack, the odd Super Dragon attack, mainly from Spray, but it is indeed mainly the Dragons here.
This one, there's 4 Earthquakes, and we have 4 Earthquakes and 7 Dragons. Who would have thought we would have quad quakes with dragons? That would have been never a thing I would have ever even thought about. But I think
Jump spells and Hog Riders, right?
Same thing, right? Or put in Angry Jelly on your Royal Champion. You know, you never know what you're going to be getting here. Some craziness, but these Earthquakes have to be used for that King Spiky Ball to be getting some value, especially towards the end of the attack. So let's keep our eye on that as this attack develops, as these dragons are continuing and pushing their way from the bottom side.
I really like the use of the skeleton spell over by the queen, because he had the poison lizard on the Barbarian King actually, which meant the lizard was protected and virtually knocked the queen straight down, so the king can then just control that entire side. And as you see, we're only 45 seconds into the attack. We're quickly taking a lot of buildings down here where he still has the spiky ball for the end. A little bit unfortunate with the Royal Champion getting caught up on the ice golems though, but here we go. Ready with the spiky ball.
Boom, boom,
What's
boom.
it going to be?
That's exactly why. The spiky ball used in conjunction with the Earthquakes to help one-shot all those critical defenses and buildings, and fantastic job. 62-second 3-star coming in. Incredible.
Yeah, that's what it was. 1 minute and 2 second attack. What a lead now to momentum shifters after just 2 attacks. Pulse Gaming, though, they really have to start pulling that back, because the sooner they can do that, obviously, the more realistic it is going to be. So Lincoln coming in next, and we'll see exactly what he's going to be using.
Lincoln is looking to deliver here for Pulse Gaming. Can he do it against Spray, who's been a fast attacker? Spray did come in, but it was a minute 16-second triple that came in from Spray. He was the attacker to lead it off, so is it a little bit less pressure, you're not being the first of your team? Or is it start to get more pressure as you know the enemy is getting 3 stars after 3 stars? Judo, if you were playing in this competition here, where would you want to attack? Would you want to attack the very first attack, the middle, or at the very last one? What would be your choice?
I think I'd probably rather attack first, just because I feel you can set the tone for your team.
Yes.
But also, if you were to make a mistake, there's still plenty of time that you can get that morale switched around and then bring things back. Whereas, you know, mid-war, you're potentially going in with extra pressure, like you said, because your team's already behind. But I'm sure different players have different abilities. Either way, this one starting out pretty fast with the dragons, obviously, and a couple of bat spells in order to help him out.
Yeah, as these dragons do push their way straight on in, the overgrowth being deployed right onto the monolith in the cold core. Did use that overgrowth to prevent the defensive rage spell from getting activated. So once the overgrowth wears off, that will come back there as the queen and king are working together. But notice, Judo, there are 3 earthquakes, which usually means it's going to be paired with the spiky ball.
Yeah, and interestingly, he had just a couple of dragons that split off from the main pack, but that was enough to take down the town hall in itself. So the stone slammer now only just pops where we have the dragon rider and balloons.
Wow,
I'm not sure.
look
I
at
mean,
that.
was
Look
the
at that.
rage
Oh
just
my.
to literally take out those buildings faster? That's amazing. Take out those
my.
storages. Let's go.
Spiky ball just completely annihilated that whole core right there. Well done, Lincoln, getting it done for Pulse Gaming. And I mean, going back to the question of attacking first, middle, or end, I am curious. Anyone watching right now in the chat, let us know if where you would want to attack. Would you want to be the attacker to be first? Would you want to attack in the middle, or would you want to be the closer? Attacker number 5. I am curious what the viewers have to say about that. So I personally, on my streams, I'm usually always the one to attack last. So I probably would do that. Granted, all the pressure, yes, does come on you there, so it can be nerve-wracking. But if you are willing to be the 5th attacker and say, okay, you get it done, you win, and you celebrate, you also have to be willing to be, if you're the 5th attacker and you lose it, you have to take responsibility. You know, yes, it's a team game, but you just feel more pressure is on you.
Yeah, especially when you have your heart rate monitor attached, so you can
Yes.
normally see on your stream as well how much your heart is going. So that's always an interesting one.
Yeah.
But I think, like you said, it's different people have preferences and they also have different skill sets in order to help with where they attack. Moving into the middle part of the war here, we have Leo of Momentum Shifters. They already have a good lead. And he has, put up a 59-second attack, I think it was, in one of their earlier matches. Yeah. And then in the second war, I'm sure it was literally over the top of a minute. So he's been extremely fast today. And I'm sure he'll be looking to maintain that speed in this attack.
Yeah, very efficient, and Leo's looking to continue that strategy of bringing the Root Riders Valkyries. Looking to try to take down Sahara here. As it is indeed, yes, the Root Riders Valks pairing in with that Angry Jelly for that king, as that queen's ability has gone right on through the space. We got the Root Riders Valks coming to the right. Siege Barracks paired in as well. I think he's at a rage of his own for that Royal Champ to really help set that funnel.
Yeah, especially because the Tesla farm is over there as well. He's going to hopefully get that straight down with help of the siege barracks, which he does. Notice the bottom area of the base. You've got the queen taking out that. Tornado trap is popped by the Barbarian King. It's hard to know with all of the different skins sometimes, but the Root Riders do move into the center of the base, and they're not going to be affected by the tornado in the center.
Yeah, the ice golems were a little annoying, getting slowed down there, trying to continue this push. Finally, the last one goes off, but he continues into the core. There is that King Spiky Ball, skipped all the way through. It looked like it looped all the way around this base, as now super minions coming out of that siege barracks, perfectly timed, sniping that town hall, and Leo comes in with yet another near 60-second triple.
Yeah, and he's disappointed because he knew that could go faster. I've seen it in his face. That is unbelievable. You just see the base vaporizing in front of yourself. Just incredible stuff. He's been on top performance today. And another super impressive attack. It's always a pleasure to watch as everything just comes together, and you know that that plan was in mind, exactly where to use those spells. Because remember, even though you're very quick with where these spells and the troops are being deployed, they're still precision perfect as well to make sure that they're all protecting each other and taking down the base effectively. So very impressive to watch.
And using the spell in the wrong location, the wrong time, could cost you 10, 15 seconds, which can make the difference, because right now in this match, we are all tied on stars. It is 9-9. But Momentum Shifters have a total of 36-second lead at the moment through 3 attacks. So Momentum Shifters are going to look to continue to bring the fast attacks. But Pulse at this point, this is the lower bracket. Now they must go all out. So if you're an attacker like NYU, who is probably going to be the last one. Yep, after Sahara here. Wait a second. Is this this is typically Fireball territory here. If we're saying 31 Rocket Loons, 2 Overgrowths,
5
he's gonna try to funnel the Fireball deep into the base, right? Oh yeah, there it is. There it is. Oh, it's good. Don't tell me you're gonna hit the rage spell tower. Don't go. Holy jeez! What a fireball!
He had the invisibility spell up top there just in case a Tesla popped so that he knew he would be able to hit that rage tower. And this is exactly what you said, Carbon. Look at the center of the base. It is gone. If you hit that fireball, it can lead to a super fast attack. Now he just has to loop around the entire outside of the base.
No way. Wait a second, look at all these Rocket Loons. They are going, they are moving. He needs to get faster and quicker, and he's giving it a shot. He's got an invisibility spell, which he could technically drop it onto the King, which he actually just decided to drop it onto the Royal Champ to the top side. He's moving through that Royal Champion, take out the multi-archer tower. He's flying on through the space, but the defensive Queen is quite annoying here. And now it's about the cleanup. At this point, he just hits that 60-second mark, passes it, and my goodness, this could have been like close it around 50 seconds, but it ended up being 65 seconds there for Sahara. But what a fireball!
Wow, I mean, Pulse Gaming are in that spot where you have to think, okay, do you just stick with the consistent 3 stars, even though we're miles behind, and hope that one of our bases holds up? Or do you just take the risk and try for that crazy attack? And they took the risk, give them credit. It paid off. And wow, I think he just got a little bit unfortunate that the air defense stayed up at the end and ended up taking out a couple of the rocket balloons. Otherwise, I think it would have been nigh on a 1-minute attack. So super impressive. And that's factoring in getting all of the spells in properly in order to get the fireball to the center. Wow.
And another reason why you use the overgrowth there is because, one, it allows you to kind of almost take your time. Yeah, they got to be fast, right? But you don't have to be as quick with like trying to be as accurate with invis. Granted, you drop a lot of invises if you had them instead of the overgrowth, but that still was wild. But now it's time for Sean
your first
here.
invis can start expiring by the time you get your last one down if you're not careful. But yeah, like you said, Sean attacking now for more shifters. He just has to keep his head cool and make sure to get the 3 stars as well. They still have a comfortable lead. Angry Jelly with the King and Spiky Ball early, moving into the center of the base. Does splash through that single target Inferno, so he is going to survive to get those Clan Castle troops down. Things spread out from all different angles here.
Yeah, they're kind of moving in different directions here as the overgrowth is now used on the Town Hall, popping the Warden Eternal Tome, but the Queen is going to be on her own to the right side. Did already burn her ability, so can he keep her going there? As the nice thing is that scatter shot is being distracted by that Queen. And as I say that, it switches. It goes off to the King there, but he should have these rewrites continue their way as the overgrowth will eventually wear off here.
Yeah, and beautiful job with the Super Barbarians as well, so that he can snipe all the defenses on the perimeter with those Super Barbarians, and then just as that overgrowth wears off, the Root Riders can target on those core defenses in the center. So really nice job. Looked like a 1-minute and 7 or 8 second attack, so right on pace with what most shifters have been getting.
Yeah, 1 minute 9 seconds there for Sean, and they are looking to try to continue to coast through. So Zikin will be the last attacker that's going to come in from Momentum Shifters here, but NYU for Pulse Gaming, his last attack, unfortunately, was a 2-star against Tribe Gaming, and if he tripled, they would have won. And now it's up to him to try to bring that quick attack, because if he doesn't bring a fast enough attack, more or less like it has to be almost like 50 seconds, and then the Momentum Shifters have to be like around 1:15. So this is going to be his fastest attack he's ever done to try to put the pressure onto Momentum Shifters here.
Yep, or the other scenario is the exact reverse happens and he 3-stars, and then momentum shifters end up 98% 2-starring, and they win anyway, right? Exactly what happened for Tribe Gaming. So
that's true.
Anything's still possible here, but like you said, just has to try and get that 3-star, and from what we seen on the previous attack, clearly they are assuming that as good as most shifters are, they will be getting 3-stars for the rest of the roll. So they're trying their best to claw back the time, and that's why I'm interested on this one as well. Are we going to see another risky fireball in order to try and get it to work? But it is something that, not every player is like confident in doing that, shall you say, because you have to have the right base, the right player, the right situation. So maybe playing it safe and seeing whether what happened in their first match happens here is the right way to go. Just get the 3-stars, get your perfect wall, and see what happens.
Well, he's pushing his way through with that ward internal tome, protecting these routes. Overgrowth now perfectly covers the Town Hall, the 2 scatters, and the 2 multi-archer towers, as these root riders will now path their way up to the top side Inferno, while the Queen paths her way towards the bottom with Super Barbarians all around this space, still hanging on that King ability, Royal Champ ability, Rage, and a couple freezes.
Yeah, just trying to keep an eye on all of the different areas of the base here. Sometimes it's really difficult to see. It's hard enough to cast and see what's going on all around the base, never mind playing, right? So I was trying to see, is he going to break the Queen into that compartment to try and take down that area quicker? But it seems not, because the spiky ball goes off. Maybe he's just saving that wall break for the final part of the base here. He is over the 1-minute mark, getting towards that average time of most shifters, so they are going to lose on time. They will require a defense, Pulse Gaming, in order to win this wall.
It all comes down to Zekin for momentum shifters here. A 3-star. As long as you're relatively around that minute 30, should be safe there. So Pulse Gaming are currently at 6 minutes 29 seconds total, while Momentum Shifters at 4 minutes 32. So they almost could get a 2-minute attack. If they do hit 2 minutes, they'll lose because they'll be above that. But just under 2 minutes, they'll be safe and they will be victorious.
Good information to know. Thank you, Carbon. So, keeps everyone informed and hyped, knowing exactly what is at stake here for the final attack. Remember, this is the last chance qualifier. Only 1 golden ticket remains to the World Finals, and this is one of the lower bracket matches. So,
here we go.
Pulse Gaming may be going home as long as most shifters get that sub 2-minute attack.
With those Valkyries, Root Riders coming into the left, we got the King and Queen paired together to the bottom side. And as always, we're seeing that early Warden Eternal Tome and the Overgrowth now. Wow, what an Overgrowth. Look at that hitting that Town Hall and the Monolith, perfectly placed to get all that value.
I love the use of that balloon there. Just missed the ricochet cannon down to the bottom, so just recovers that with a balloon moving in to try and take that down. Is not actually going to be able to get that, so we will have to move back over towards that. Root Riders struggling a little bit in the center, but there goes the spiky ball over to the right to help that section. He still has a bunch of spells here to, as those major defenses come back alive, just constantly freeze them and keep them out of action.
Yeah, he's just passing the minute. He has plenty of time. The defenses are all but gone, and he'll end on this Town Hall. There's a Rage, there's a Freeze, and Momentum Shifters will be getting the victory over Pulse Gaming. What a performance from them, and keeping their hopes alive in the lower bracket. They will now be taking on Dizi Esports in the lower bracket tomorrow. But we're down to the final 4 teams. The 2 teams in the upper bracket will be Tribe Gaming and HTM Esports, while this lower bracket, like I mentioned, Dizi Esports now taking on Momentum Shifters here.
Yeah, interesting that they played each other earlier on today as well. So the teams will be able to go away tonight, review that matchup, see what they think moving into tomorrow, because I guess that's always a little bit of advantage of who, you know, when you know what your first match is going to be. But now that we're down to 4 teams as well, they will be heavily preparing for tomorrow. Moving to just the recap here, what were your thoughts on that match, Carbon? Was it exactly what you expected, or...
Yeah. It was pretty much, I thought it was going to be a 15-15 war and come down to time. And if I had to pick one side for time, I was picking momentum shifters here. And they did deliver, and that's exactly how it turned out. They're quick. They are a very good team. And it's just, you never know in certain situations where sometimes it could be the pressure. And you know that these players, it doesn't matter how much experience you have, they will always have that, like the butterflies in like their stomach, or their hands will be shaking just a bit. You can have all the experience in the world. You just know what's on the line. A trip to the World Finals is like nothing else, and it's just an amazing experience. And some of these players have never had that before, and others have. So it's a lot of pressure, and you can see what teams are delivering and ones that unfortunately falling short. It's just, it wasn't their day.
Yeah, but the one thing I will say on momentum shifters as well, if they've played 3 matches today and they've perfect warred every single one of them. So super impressive. And I mean, you can say that about both of the teams here, right? You've got to give them both credit. Commiserations to Pulse Gaming. I'm sure they will potentially come back strong next time around, but it is momentum shifters moving on to day 2 and that are still alive to try and get their golden ticket.
Yeah, and you mentioned the golden ticket. There's only one left to be given away. And we got the MVP votes coming in, which looks like 20% goes to, it's a tie, really, Sahara and Leo. So we've
got fireball attack.
I mean, I know, right? That fireball, just insane. The moment I saw, okay, bunch of rockaloons. All right, probably means fireball. But then I see 2 overgrowths, and the only thing that clicks in my mind is, wait a second, these overgrowths have to be used for pathing, and indeed fires the fireball all the way across into the middle base and gets insane value. But let's welcome now back the other casters. We've got ourselves Itsu and Woody, but what an epic day we had here so far. And what was your thoughts on that last matchup there, Itsu?
I mean, it was an incredible back and forth, but at the same time, that fireball, oh my goodness, that looked so cool. And as well, we got like a nice glimpse of how those fireball attacks can look when everything works to plan. I mean, we have seen earlier 1-star fireball attack, but now seeing a fireball attack where everything goes to plan, the fireball is landing at the right location as planned, and the follow-up then as well. That was just a really nice attack for the last match of the day. Woody, what about you?
Oh yeah, it's like the most beautiful set piece in football or soccer that you can possibly see. Everything has to line up and go perfectly. But when you get the timing just right, when you get every spell deployed, when the Grand Warden pops that fireball and obliterates an entire compartment, there is no better feeling in Clash. And that's the sort of attack that can turn around an entire war. And it's so much the reason why we know every single attack is crucial in these matches. Loved seeing those last 2, and they were very tight wars, as you mentioned, going back and forth either way. It was very difficult to predict, but we ultimately do have 4 teams still left in the competition. Let's take a look at the bracket now, Judo.
Yes, so we've obviously seen the first 6 matches. So our first match tomorrow will be in the lower bracket, Mo Shifters versus Dizi Esports, which myself and Carbon were talking about a little bit earlier on there. And then the upper finals will be Tribe Gaming and HTM Esports.
It's gonna be an action-packed Sunday you do not want to miss, as we are giving away the golden ticket tomorrow. And let's take a look at how we were doing today. Woody taking the crown for only 1 wrong in match 5. Well done to you, Woody. Picking Vatang, unfortunately not right, but the rest of your predictions were correct there. So Woody, I want to jump to you. What's your secret behind going only 1 wrong here today?
Great luck and good co-casters who can give me some good insights on these teams. You know, I got 5 right, but all of you guys got 4 right as well. Very, very close matches throughout the entirety of the day. And I'm happy happy to see that teams that have performed really well in the past have once again been able to do very well again, but we still have a couple of surprises in the lower end of the bracket that will challenge Tribe and HT in Brazil, both superstar squads with an excellent opportunity to take the win. Carbon, you taking that perfect prediction with Dizi on match 5, the one and only on the entire lineup, certainly deserves a shout out as well. We'll take one more look at the prizing now. With $2,000 earned by the teams that were eliminated today, the lion's share of the prize is still up for grabs, Zitsu.
That's right. There is still the $10,000 on the line for the first seed, but the golden ticket, I mean, that is what those teams are chasing for, because this is just getting you to the main stage. This is getting you to the, as well, $1 million prize pool, which is just so insane. And being able to experience everything live on stage with an audience and everything is just a whole different level of anything those players have experienced, especially for those who never were in one of those live events. So I think that is a lot of motivation for those teams, and for those teams who already experienced this, it's another big motivation to come back to this point because they want to perform again in front of a crowd like this. But yeah, that's like, I feel like a big motivation for those teams, right, Judo?
Yes, absolutely. I think having that North Star in mind, if you will, about getting that ticket to Superfest and then being able to compete for the $1 million prize pool, it's just something that obviously all of the players strive for. And that's what's going to make for such exciting matches tomorrow, Carbon.
Yes, it's going to be an incredible day. Cannot wait for it. But before we wrap it up here, was there any final words you guys wanted to provide before we get ready for the final day tomorrow, Sunday, for giving out that golden ticket? We'll start with you, Itsu.
I mean, I'm just looking forward to more exciting and especially close matches as we had today. And to me, just the biggest surprise today was that Vatang dropped out as the first team. To me, they might not be the favorite for the entire Last Chance Qualifier, but still, for me, for sure, a middle pack team, which I would have expected to come a little further. So that was surprising to see, but otherwise, incredible matches today, which gives me even more hope for tomorrow that we will see even more great matches tomorrow. How about you, Woody?
Yeah, I just want to express my appreciation for everyone who tuned in today to watch these matches. You are the reason why we are all here to put these awesome shows together. And a huge thank you to the teams as well, which have invested many weeks and months of their time so far this year to get to this stage of the tournament. Thousands of dollars awarded to them, and it is a tough way to go out if you're eliminated in the first day of competition today. So commiserations, but also really congratulations for still being one of the top 6 teams that remain unqualified to the 2 teams eliminated today. Also, big thanks to Supercell and our friends over at production who have kept the lights running and the show pumping with so much energy going through to the end of the year. We've got one more awesome show left for tomorrow. I'll just send it over to Judo for his final thoughts before we close things out.
Yes, I'd just like to echo what you said. And remember, you can watch as well on event.supercell.com/Clash of Clans. And the matches we've got tomorrow, you've obviously been able to see getting built up today. We will be handing out that final golden ticket tomorrow. And I am just so excited because we have that rematch of Tribe Gaming and HTM Esports, which was last year in person. It's so amazing to see the teams when they are both in the same room. The energy that Clash Champs and Tribe Gaming had last year was unbelievable. So to see that rematch tomorrow and see which team has the opportunity of getting to Superfest again is just going to be amazing. But what about yourself, Carbon?
Well, it's crazy that only one of these teams will be able to be competing on that big stage with the golden ticket, but it's an incredible day, and it's going to get better tomorrow as well for giving out that final golden ticket. But make sure you guys are tuning in tomorrow at 2 p.m. UTC. We'll be live, kick it off, and getting ready for the last day of the Last Chance Qualifiers. Hopefully you guys have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Till then, Clash on.
Clash on.